everybody, and welcome back to ESN. In a, we're here in a fair day here at British Columbia, Canada. We're back in North America as the Cup Series rolls on to take on uh, the main show this weekend at the inaugural race weekend here at Echo Energy International Speedway in Surrey, British Columbia. We're approximately an hour away from downtown Vancouver, and well, this weekend is already shaping up to be an excellent one, especially for a racetrack which just opened very recently here. Haven't seen much racing at all. Just a few test events, I think, before the AWSCO circuit rolled up here, and we had our continental race yesterday, and I was lucky enough to be in the booth for that race, taking in some of the action, and it's fair to say that I think we had a pretty exciting race, especially with a long green flag run at the end between some of the top 5 cars there at this 3.25 mile racetrack, I believe. It's a uniquely shaped racetrack. It's a uniquely shaped racetrack, as my studio co-host Ellie can attest to as well. She was here for the race in the studio for the Continental race yesterday. What did you think of the Continental race last night, and how did you expect that to translate over to the Cup Series race today?
Yeah, I thought the Continental race here was really great yesterday. I thought the racing was all around from the early stages of the race to the middle and towards the end, where it was just outstanding. Even when it wasn't too aggressive, we had some really solid racing, and as the aggression picked up, it just got better and better, and towards the end, it just got more exciting. So I think we're gonna see similar racing here. I mean, obviously it's the same track, so I think our Cup drivers are gonna look at what happened at the Continental race and see if they can try and replicate it, see what if they think they can do something better. I think we're in for a really good race here again too.
Yeah, last time about in the Continental race we had 250 laps around this track. This time around it'll be 400 laps. 400 laps around this racetrack, and we saw last time there's a lot of this being a new racetrack, newly built with a freshly paved surface. Things tend to be a little goofy when it comes to strategy. I mentioned yesterday while I was in the booth that if you're going to make the overcut work at any kind of track, it would be a racetrack like this one, where track position matters quite a bit and tire wear is not a particular concern, and we saw that happen with the and we saw that work with the with some of the racers yesterday. We saw, I think, in the last pit cycle, the 54 of Michaela Kirkland used the overcut pretty well to her advantage to leapfrog her way to the lead, and that's something that, I don't think we see that often in short tracks, and I think that's kind of conducive to the unique nature of the circumstances that are shaping up at this track specifically.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing here is that track position is going to be the big deciding factor. I think that's going to be the big strategy game here, is your track position. So overcutting is going to be something I think we're going to see a lot of drivers try to attempt here, try and replicate it. The thing here is that what makes it so interesting is that it's at a short track of all tracks. We're seeing that be the main strategy, but it's really just coming down to how the track's paved. It's such fresh pavement. It's not worn yet. It's not very abrasive. I mean, we saw somebody spin out in Continental, and they decided to not take tires, not go into the pit, because it just didn't really affect her tires very much, because the track is just so fresh. So I think it's going to be interesting to try and watch what kind of strategies are developing here, and what kind of long game strategies we'll be able to see here. Given this is 400 laps instead of 250, I think that might make it more of a pace race as well, more so than the last race in Continental here.
Yeah, And speaking of the racetrack, we should go over the characteristics of the racetrack for those who didn't see the Continental race yesterday. This new racetrack, Echo Energy International Speedway, is a 3/4 mile short track modeled after, if you know, the old USA International Speedway, all back in Florida that shut down some time ago. I think it was around a decade or so ago. That's the kind of racetrack that this track is modeled after, which, if you know anything about that racetrack, you know that it's a little bit of a non-traditional kind of short track. It's, even though it's under a mile, there's quite long straight. The racetrack itself has quite long straightaways and high banked corners. I believe the banking was 14 degrees at the track in Lakeland, and I believe it's about the same here as well, which definitely makes it stand out from other short tracks that basically exist anywhere in North America, really, no matter, and especially against the ones that we've been to here at on the AWSCO series. We've been to a few of them already, of course, especially in the Continental series, but looking at the schedule, I'm not sure if there really is a racetrack that's like this one here at this schedule. Maybe a combination of maybe something in the middle of, say, a Calder Park or a Bristol. Maybe it kind of fits in the middle of those two, where we have a racetrack that's, you know, a shorter track with higher banking, but not quite as compressed as Bristol, but not quite as large as Calder Park. I feel like that's maybe the closest analog I can give to it. It's an interesting track, and you'll see the kind of racing that we'll see here is fairly unique for a short track, I think.
Yeah, it's very unique. I really enjoy watching it play out, and I'm excited to see the drivers hit the track here for 400 laps of what we saw yesterday, which is it's going to be its own race. Obviously, it's a longer race, and there's going to be totally different pacing. But I like your comparison with Bristol and Calder Park. I think those are really good comparisons, and I think this track would be somewhere in the middle of those two. I think that's pretty accurate. And speaking of the drivers hitting the track, is there anyone that's kind of like your eye?
Let's see. I will say I will say this track does have some shades of old Bristol. It being kind of a bottom feeder racetrack with even with the high banking. Obviously, current Bristol is very different with the progressive banking that exists now, but this being a constant banking track, you can kind of see some of the comparisons that this track would have to old Bristol. And you'll kind of see in the way they race that the way you set up and make passes here is definitely has the hallmarks of that kind of racing. Maybe without as much of the physical contact as was required in the old Bristol. Looking at the drivers that are lining up today, we have Sky and Jetta on the pole in the number 16 Southwest racing car. That is a very interesting driver to see up front. Southwest Racing has been all over the place this year, but taking a look at Jetta's results this season, they've been fairly consistent, but it's kind of petered off at times and picked back up at other times. She's more or less been a road course merchant, I believe. Jetta's been great on the road courses, not as much on the ovals. Now, she did get a top 10 in Rio de Janeiro, but even then, that track is a very flat oval. Her last top five was she did get a third place at Kentucky, so that's something that is a good result at one of those bigger ovals I've mentioned. Jocelyn Nihale has basically the polar opposite season of Sky and Jetta. She's been extremely consistent with 11 top 10s most in the series, 5 top 5s, which I think is joint third, I think, with quite a few drivers there. Nihale, obviously the story coming into this race, as is been for the last few races, has been the points battle situation, the 64 and the 23. Both of those drivers right now fighting for the regular season championship, but neither of them have a win just yet. Nihale has come close multiple times now, but has fallen short every time. Nihil starting on the outside of row 1 in 2nd place, while Yappy Mountain starts on the other side of the field, on the inside of row 20 in 39th place. Interesting to see our regular season championship protagonist starting on polar opposite ends of the field here. We'll see what that means for the two of them, but obviously a good starting place for Nihil. We'll see what she can do with that. She is starting on the outside, and we saw the outside was pretty detrimental at the start of the Continental race. A lot of drivers fell back quite a bit in that race.
Yeah, the outside was not the place to be during the Continental race at this track. There wasn't really much advantage you could get from going on the outside, other than when there was, I think, going back on my memory, maybe like when the 54 got stuck between traffic and she went on the outside, but it's not really giving you an advantage of going on the outside. It was a very specific situation. So, who I'm really looking at here, honestly, Lily Tolberson kind of performs in the middle ground on short tracks, medium tracks, the high bank tracks, the low bank tracks, road courses. She's kind of been pretty decent at all of those, except sometimes I've seen her excel in more of these ovals, and this is a shorter oval. She does really well on weird ovals, so I could see her performing really well. Mika Harina I could also see performing really well here. The interesting thing with Sky and Jetta, what I was thinking was, I think the reason she performed so well here was that she was, that this is a short oval. She's really good at road courses and short tracks, not so much the regular ovals, but since this is a shorter oval, it's kind of different from all the other ovals we've seen with how it's paced. I feel like she's going to be one of the drivers that we'll have to look out for, just to see if she likes the pacing of this track better than some of the other ovals and longer tracks we've seen. I'm getting the call to keep going here. Well, other drivers I think will probably do pretty decent here. I mean, we see Rachel Cole in row 5. I think she hasn't been the greatest at the shorter track. She's been better at the ovals and the kind of weirder middle ground ovals. So I think Rachel Cole might be another driver that we're gonna see that could perform pretty decently here. Rariston's all the way in row 9, which it's not terrible for Rariston, and she's been pretty decent at tracks like this as well. So row 9's not the best start for her, and it is on the outside, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw her try and make up some ground sometime in the middle of the race. I wouldn't be too shocked to see her in the top 5, maybe top 8, 10 by the time the race is done. An interesting one to look for is Alicia Byrne all the way back in row 12, starting on the outside as well. I think that's going to give her a hard time trying to make up some ground.
Yeah, early on in the Continental race, we saw quite a few cars making up some decent ground, maybe about 5 to 10 positions or so at least on the outside of the race from that inside line. So definitely want to look out for cars starting on the inside of inside of rows, say 6 through 10. Those are cars that are probably going to be, some of those cars are probably going to be in the top 10 if we have a decently sized green flag run.
Yeah, I think another thing with these row 6 to 10 cars is if they take advantage of a yellow, because if a caution goes out and they're in a good position to take advantage of that, I think some of these cars could benefit from that pretty easily. We did kind of see whenever there was a caution in the Continental race here, it would kind of change the field up a lot. So I think a lot of those row 6 to 10, maybe even 12 cars will be trying to see if they could take advantage of a caution here.
Yeah, restarts are going to be very important, and especially on those single file restarts that we're going to have. Watch out for cars sitting about in the 2nd to 5th place range. We saw a lot of moves being made for the lead on restarts especially, and I feel like that might be the best place to make a move at the front of the field, I think. if you're at the front of the field, because we definitely saw that track position and being first out on track in a long green flag run, that really does give you a lot of benefits. It's definitely rather difficult to pass for the lead on a long green flag run. So if a restart comes in and you're sitting in second or third, that might be the best time for you to make a move and try to aim for the lead there. All right, and with that, I think that'll wrap up our pre-race show here. As I will hand you over to the booth where we'll get to the Rogers 400 here in Surrey, British Columbia started. And we hope you enjoy this race at a spectacular new racing facility in British Columbia.
And welcome here to the Echo Energy International Speedway in Surrey, British Columbia for the second ever race at this racetrack. We had the first race yesterday in the Continental Series, and it was no sloucher. It was a very fun race, very enjoyable race, and a lot of people really enjoyed that race. I'm Echo. I'm joined by Eddie here in the booth at the brand new Echo Energy International Speedway. Eddie, how are you doing, and what do you expect tonight?
I'm back for yet another short track as I have looked back at my schedule. No matter if it's Mexico, Canada, any other international short track, you will find me being flown in. Guess I'm good at these because I live in Virginia. I don't.
Well, you also were at Concord.
Yeah, that's
iRacing Super Speedway.
Yeah, but when 4 to 5 races are tracks under a mile, you know, feel like you're getting put into a corner. But regardless of that, I don't think I expect much else from the Continental race. I would hope these drivers a little less problematic than the Continental race was, with how there were quite a few crashes in that one. However, again, last race before the seeding in the playoffs, and there's a lot to be decided for that 32 driver bracket going into Indianapolis. So I would not be surprised to see a bunch of drivers going aggressive to try and get some extra points, hopefully get a better seeding position, hopefully get a better, what you would call probably a quadrant in the tournament, so that they can have a better chance of reaching that cash prize at the end. So yeah, as much as I want to say it's not going to be different because we have a lot of experienced drivers here, we also got a lot more to play for, so I think that's going to factor into what we see on track.
Well, let's go through our starting grid here and take a look at how they will line up for the first ever Cup Series race here. Row 1, Sky and Jetta leads up the front row alongside second place in points Jocelyn Nihale. Row 2 is the 8 of Lowry Schliesenbach alongside the 98 Eva Ajarsaraj, who's got a couple wins this season at road courses. Row 3, you got a driver who's won at a short track, Arenia Tosima, alongside the 39 of Lily Talberson. Row 4, Nietzsche Garnston alongside Adi Stoneman. Row 5 is Rachel Cole alongside Gianni McJasmina. Row 6 is Angeli Rugatina, who won back at Calder Park, a track that we've kind of compared this one to, alongside Halis Jukovic. I already lost count. Row 7 is the 20 de Gabi Abriella and last week's winner at Motegi, Mika Harina. Row 8 is the 1 of Alicia Vancy, who's got 3 straight top 10s, and the 82 Pace Linaria. Row 9, the 60 of Amory Wesco, and the 32 Sydney Rarestone, who won back-to-back at Bristol and South Boston, 2 short tracks. Row 10 is the 3 Mimi Barino and the 13 Yanni Waterton, the 2 teammates. Row 11, the 15 Fabrizio Tolerone and the 38 of Youngwei Ku. Row 12 is the 72 Janet Parkins and the 91 of Alicia Byrne. Row 13 is the 92 Michele Yatica and the 21 of Amani Wandayo. Row 14, the 19 Arlen Handstrom and the 46 Jan Fianaga. Row 15, the 55 of Bria Delade and the 42 of Meka Gennaro. Row 16, the 9 of Carly Byrne and the 22 Andrea Davison. Row 17 is the 71 of Abby Little and the 99 Marisha Vevelst. Row 18, the 18 Perry Alacantes and the 17 Dira Reister. Row 19, winner back at Daytona Backstretch. At the Clash is the 26 Sophie Chantaze alongside the 2 of Izzy Javida. And in row 20, starting all the way back in 39th, is the points leader, Yabi Malikson. She's alongside Taylor Happerman. So one thing is for how this race stacks up with that in-season tournament, but another thing is going to be how will these drivers that are in that points race and trying to chase getting into the playoffs, how does that look? Because you know, Yappy Malekson all the way back in 39th. She's still leading the points, but, you know, Jocelyn Nihale, second in points, sits just a spot back. You got several drivers vying to get a win to get into the playoffs here. How do you think that will affect things here as we're so late into the season?
I think it will. I think there are definitely going to be drivers. Lori Schliesenbach comes to mind, starting inside row 2 as someone who could be fighting for that win and definitely trying to use this track position to good use. The one, Sky and Jetta, of course, are pole sitter, on 20 points behind. Someone who has shown recently that she can compete for the top 20. Maybe this can be a race that she gets herself in. Southwest Racing already having one driver in, could try and get
2 drivers in.
Actually, 2 drivers. Yeah, I forgot that that it's her and Gennaro who don't have wins. Sky and Jetta is going to be the 3rd Southwest driver to get in. The one race I want to point out that will, I imagine, have some sort of bearing on this race. Nietzsche Garnstone, Eddie Stoneman, the lockout there in row 4. Both are just under 15 points behind Felicia Vancy for the last points pain spot in. Felicia Vancy is inside row 8. I imagine those 3 drivers with those 3 teams will be going to try to understand where those other cars are at all times, because realistically they could fight for the win, but if they don't, they're going to want to try and gain some points on each other, and Vancy wanted to put them in her rearview mirror as much as possible. So with them being up front here, I would expect those 3 teams to sort of have some interesting strategy calls, maybe doing things that most other drivers aren't doing, with the hopes of gaining a couple more points in that race, just in case a win doesn't come their way later this season.
Well, we're green, and Sky and Jetta has led the first lap here. Lauri Schliesenbach does take that second spot away, but here comes the 93 of Irina Tosima trying to battle her for that spot. They're 2 wide still throughout most of this pack, but Schliesenbach will hang on to second for now. Tosima trails behind her.
Inside lane gets the jump. I was going to see how Nihale does on that first corner, and she didn't do really enough. Man, Tosima looks like he's already going to the bottom of Schliesenbach.
She's trying. It's kind of tough to get underneath a car here going into the corner. You kind of have to time it, and we saw that in the Continental race. It's something you kind of got to time very well. She's definitely making that effort, though. But Schliesenbach's holding her off for now. Sky and Jetta leads.
39 got down.
39 gets down, and they'll start to single file out. Once they start single filing out, that's when it gets a little more calm. There's Mimi Brino going 3 wide with Wesco in the area there. That'll sort itself out. 3 wide is where you're going to start worrying about where they go. Tosima already trying to get underneath Schliesenbach for that second spot again. But the 8 car doing just enough to hold her behind for now.
I'm going to look at intervals here as they come across the line. Yeah, that was what I expected. Something about Sky and Jetta did not have the best lap there, and that allowed Schliesenbach to cut into the lead. Max Schliesenbach
looking to the inside.
That's a defensive maneuver. It looked to the inside. I don't know if that was a defensive maneuver or not. It kind of looked like it, but got to fight off Tosima. Now Tosima's got problems because if she makes one bad move, Nietzsche Garnstone is right there.
They're
trying to sneak here into a
all over.
spot.
Everyone's all over each other. And this is kind of something we saw at the end of the Continental race, where a bunch of drivers just kind of got stacked up. It's still kind of hard to make moves. You can do it. You can make moves here, but it's still a little difficult to make those moves stick.
I did see something behind there. Eddie Stoneman, you see there up in your top right in the 10th position, but Felicia Vancy is now 11th, and again, those 2 drivers battling for what would be the final point pain spot in the playoffs. Gonna want to watch to see what Vancy's plan is to get around Stoneman, or if her plan is simply just to hold Stoneman behind her, and as a side point, see if Stoneman wants to get around someone like Gugino and Jukovic, get those points up. Let's see Rachel Cole there trying to fight off another group of cars. Oh boy, this is...
They are getting pretty antsy. Tosima's looking again inside of Schliesenbach, but not able to make that move quite yet. Mostly single filed out. They're going 3 wide back here, though. That's Bria DeLaude, Army Wesco, Gianni McJasmina.
almost
someone
closing
I
in
want
on
to talk
4
about at
wide.
the top of the show. Top 5, well, 5th place finishes back-to-back. She's in a great spot if she has a good run here to get probably a top 4 seed in the tournament, which would matter completely, I mean, really well towards getting yourself towards that top million. As, oh boy, Tosma got put to the outside. Garnston gonna get around her and see
That
if
might
Talberson wants to
also
help out a
get
teammate or her.
Talberson might try and go around her as well. Yes, she will. Nietzsche Garnston takes 3rd place away. And Lily Talberson trying to take that 4th spot away, but Tosima is doing a pretty solid job hanging on the outside here. The more you kind of widen that corner out, the more you can fight back on the outside. But I think Talberson's finally going to get clear here. And Garnston's now going to go for 2nd. Here comes the 27, trying to take that spot from Schliesenbach. And she does what Tosima couldn't do in just a couple laps. At 27 has already taken this spot.
Royal Racing, what a loan it would be there if Nietzsche Garnstone could get a win, especially with how Tolaron has been one of, I hate to say this, but one of the worst drivers on the grid, at least full time this season, down there in 39th. But
Tabrizia has struggled.
Now she has struggled, but maybe Garnstone can get Royal Racing into the playoffs with a win here. If not, she's going to be trying her best to get ahead of UC Tolaron there, so maybe this is just...
Yeah, she's running 11th right now, and you see Felicia Vancy's moved up to 10th.
That's going to cut the lead, or at least cut into the amount of points that Garnstone will gain as soon as she doesn't win this race on Vancy. Regino has been dropping a couple of spots, giving
Here comes Cynthia Rariston. Yeah, we've been solidly green for about, what, all 17 laps of this race so far. You're looking for where Yappy Malikson is. Remember, she started way in the back of the field. She's actually moved up to 24th from 39th, so she's already gained 15 positions from the start of this race, and she may have actually gained even more in this lap that I just didn't see. Yeah, she was scored 23rd that last time by. So points leader Malikson doing a pretty good job.
Absolutely.
Coming back up through the field here.
And
Garnston has closed up on Njeta.
Between now this is where, let's see what exactly Garnstone does. This is going to be just a good measuring point from here. I'd imagine all spotters trying to look at this move, assuming Garnstone tries to make one, see how they can get this car to stick, if they can tell their drivers for future passes.
Fighting for 6th here, or for 7th, excuse me. That's Yukovic and Cole. Got Stoneman trying to keep Vancy behind her, but she can't do it. She got the momentum off the corner, though.
That was almost a scary moment for Stoneman there. Again, needing gain points on Vancy. Give herself a shot at the wild card, assuming she doesn't win a race anytime within the next couple.
Well, after this race, we'll have just 5 races left in that regular season. Garnston takes a look underneath Njeta, but doesn't have enough room or space to make that move.
The ERR cars to continue
continuing to battle back there. Speaking of ERR cars, why don't we take a look back further in the field? There's Carly Burns sitting 30th, and Marisha Vevel all the way back in 38th. Lots of mix-ups in the racing here, but not really a lot going on up front right now. There's Stoneman trying to take this spot away from Halis Yukovic. And Yukovic, she almost closed the door. And you see Lily Talberson now trying to gain a spot here from Lowry Schliesenbach. Schliesenbach able to just stay clear.
That was a slam the door moment.
Now Talberson looks again to the inside into turn 3.
Maybe that's a strat play someone can try to do. Try and make someone do what Schleichenbach just did, slam the door coming off of the corner. That's going to give him a rougher time on corner exit. And that might give a car behind the momentum to try and pull around him, as 39 just did, pulling the 93 with him. And now ERR
3-4.
A little bit of a team trying to catch the other two. Tag Team Atkins and 2 ERR cars sitting in the top 10 in the standings right now.
Yep, and these two drivers with wins this season. In fact, these two drivers are two of the only drivers with multiple wins this season. Talberson, obviously, with her 2 wins. She won at Pocono and she won it back in Rio. And then Tosima won at Phoenix, and then again back-to-back at Sonoma and Daytona Road Course, and at the All-Star race, which you were actually there for, Eddie. That won.
That was a fun time. Man, that last lap was just pure chaos.
Yeah.
One of those classic AWSCO moments. You'll see those in the highlight packages for 50 years. Meanwhile, speaking of a driver who we're probably going to see in the highlights for 50 years, Helles Jukovic.
Yeah, Helles Jukovic, who won the Daytona 500.
Yep, Atlantic racing. I tend to remember. I mean, we know Finley Arrarison won both of those short track races, but I feel like it's worth noting that Atlantic racing, they're nice enough to share a lot of the help between their cars. That's why that team has been so strong this year. And I think what we're seeing now is as Nihale starts to not quite creep up, but as teammates not being so nice to each other.
Tosima has been trying to get by Talberson for a little bit here.
Atlantic
Finally, we'll get clear though.
ERR.
Now you're seeing Nihale getting shoved out of line as Stoneman got underneath that 64, and now the 64 is starting to lose a bit.
Helles Jukovic, 7 top 5s, but the last win she had.
Whoa, Vancy!
Like a Daytona. Oh boy,
Jeez.
Felicia, come on, you gotta be careful.
Vancy, I think might have got hooked by Tolerone or somebody, because she went darting across onto the apron there and managed to recover the car, but
very scary moment for her again with Stoneman and Garnstone up there. A wreck right now pretty much knocks Vancy out of, that practically destroys her lead on both cars.
They've caught a lap car of Michele Iattica.
Already, Iattica. What happened to you?
Might just be slow, honestly.
For a driver that started inside row 13, that might be something a little bit more problematic. As now she's holding up Tosimo, that's not going to be fun. It's going to give, Talberson's going to be nice enough. Let her teammate get by. Stay clean on that part.
Man, Felicia Vancy really avoided disaster there, though. That was a scary moment. You can tell when a car is out of shape by if they go into the if they go down onto that apron where the sponsor logos and the flags are. Meanwhile, Schleichenbach is starting to drop back because here comes Stoneman now. She's moved up to the 5th position, gotten by that 8 car, and Jukovic is trying to follow her.
Don't look now, but look who's haunting Felicia Vancy behind her. It's Finley Arrarison, winners at Bristol and South Boston. Has worked her way up. She started at 18. Probably got pushed back quite a bit because of the outside lane, but she's now up to 9th. And again, Atlantic short track racing. They've had 2 cars pretty much in the top 10 all race, and the 64 has been around here as well. So
so far, Sky and Jet has led every lap so far. Got some more battles back here. There's Vria Delade fighting with Mimi Barrino. Got Perry Alacantes and Alicia Byrne. Ellie, you got something?
Yeah, the one car looks like she's reporting an oil leak, which is not ideal.
Oh, she's coming to pit road.
oh no.
Oh, be careful. Oh,
my
no.
goodness gracious.
That was something we saw in the Continental race yesterday.
Oh.
Was cars having trouble getting to pit road. Especially under green, and Alicia Vancy has just suffered that.
That's gonna kill any chance. As long as Johnson and Stoneman stay clean for the remainder of this race, we're gonna see one or two. We're gonna see at least one new driver in the provisional playoff spots because Alicia Vancy all but lost. She's probably gonna lose her entire lead with those cars. So.
You know, it was not that big of a lead either.
No, it wasn't. 13 points. Yeah, that's gone in an instant, and we just saw that instant. Interesting, because we haven't talked about the other two cars that are kind of in the mix there for that spot. Again, we're presuming that we don't get any new winners as of right now, which would push that spot out of contention and leave Malixon and Nihil the only two cars with a spot. But we have Janet Parkins and Haslin Yuria, and neither of those cars have really made any much of an appearance so far in this race. Very quiet.
Yeah, so far not a lot has been heard from them, but that can always change.
Absolutely. Yeah, we thought, well, yeah, we thought Alicia Vancy was going to be possibly a major player in this one, and
looks like there's some debris on the track. It looks like there was some debris on the track back there, but we don't have a caution flag. Meanwhile, Audie Stoneman's starting to close in on this 39. You're seeing Irina Tosima starting to gain time on the 27 and the 16. So the 93's car is starting to kick in here a little bit in the long run. Car coming down pit road, the 92 of Michele Yatica. That might have been what that debris was.
Also why she was slow, as there's Stoneman.
Stoneman trying to go for fourth here.
The inside. Any help from Yukovic?
She'll take it.
Yes, just a little.
And the 62 is going to follow. And now we'll see if maybe the 8 follows as well. We've been green flag racing for the first 47 laps of this race. They've not been without incident.
Nothing to note about this Sky and Jetta dominance, assuming we see this last longer than it is. Guy and Jetta is in a spot in terms of the last 3 finishes when we talk about the in-season tournament. 3 top 20s, granted only 1 top 10 in that time. But a first place finish really gives her an opportunity to have one of those top 4 seeds in the in-season tournament, which is what you want.
Well, remember here that the in-season tournament is sort of by average finish, not by winning.
Yes, I'm considering that. Don't worry.
Fair.
I know but I mean comparatively, if you want to talk about the difference, both Malixon and Nihil have an average finish of 40 finishes add up to 49. Do the math yourself, but Jetta has 47. So with a win, that puts you a good amount ahead of Malixon and Nihil, which means very good chance you don't have to face them or anyone else who's been on a hot streak recently, and that really would pay off in terms of giving you maybe the first round, maybe the first 2 rounds to sort of face easier competition, and then hoping that your rivals get upset.
Well, nothing's really easy here.
Saw that in the real in-season tournament too, if we all remember correctly. Although that was just a poor choice of the first round racetrack.
Yeah.
See now.
Garnston and Tosima are both starting to close up on this 16 again.
We might have some more issues because I see Yania Waterton and the Crunchyroll car is having not the best of days.
13's a bit slow. Yeah, we're starting to catch a little more lap traffic. We're starting at the tail of the field, starting to be kind of dragged in here.
Waterton was on row 10, so maybe there was something that we missed that didn't bring out a caution, because I feel like there are cars with damage or cars that are at least slower than they should be, even compared to their qualifying time. But don't know who caused that debris. All we know is that Yanni Warrington not having a great day and might get lapped here.
We might have a fight for second coming up soon here, though, because the 93 of Tosima is closing up.
It was Weddy Stoneman. Starting to think Weddy Stoneman might have heard Felicia Vancy, or might have probably seen the accident, and is starting to push forward, because up to fourth now. We're going to have to see how the intervals.
Oh, here she goes. Here comes Tosima.
Yep. Might be able to make a big run here, although did lose a little bit of time to the leader there. Don't let her in this fight, at least if you're Garnstone, because Stoneman will snap up that last playoff spot real quick.
Oh, caution is out. Oh!
Oh my goodness, Pace
Laniria.
Oh, Tosima, what the? Tosima and Stoneman.
The 71.
Oh. Boy,
stacking up everybody. Because she's trying to come down into pit road. That is a mess.
Well, at least, no, it didn't look like anyone sustained any front-end damage from it, so that's a win, I think. And by front-end damage, I mean the cars that had to brake. I guess we're getting pit stops. Did we have any knowledge of what the gas and fuel and tire mileage was?
It's about 100 laps.
Well, earlier stops here. Someone's going around, but I assume that's lap traffic. It looked like, yeah, it's Yatica. Abby Little out of the race.
Same for Vancy.
We knew Vancy was gonna be out. That you don't survive a hit like that. It looked like someone.
Garnston won the race out.
Oh, and Finley Arariston. Atlantic Racing with a great pit stop gets that car up to second.
I think Njetta might have beat the 32 out of pit road.
Oh.
But because she has the first pit stall, she just accelerates out a little bit slower. But the 27 definitely won the race out.
Polaroon also up to fourth, so suddenly Royal Racing has two cars in the top five. What is Atlantic Racing? Just random they can get.
Alright, so what happens? Oh. 18 just pulled low. I'm not sure what happened there.
Oh, and then
93 and the 10 made some contact. What's up with the area? Oh, it just let go. The engine just went. And she's trying to pull down the track. And I think she just can't get down the track. I don't know why she pulls up like that, but...
really just an awful choice from the 82 there. I don't know what the spotter was trying to tell her. But lurched upward and got in front of Abby Little, and that's all she wrote for the 71 car.
92 Viatica will get the free pass. Ellie?
Yeah, it looks like the 91 is having some fuel system issues.
Alright. Interesting note there. Russia, you got any word on what happened to Alicantes there?
Yep, 18 took a few extra trips to pit road there. I think they were reporting a bit of a misfire in the engine. We'll double check on that, but they were under the hood looking to fix things up. 18's currently sitting at the back of the pack as we head to green here. Back over to you.
Well, Acontes is still out there on track. And Njetta gets subverted to the inside. Rariston will take that second spot away. We're back to green.
Jetta not the best restart out of Njetta. Vukovic is gonna get under her, and we might have two Atlantic cars. We will have two Atlantic cars in podium spots. GT Garnstone, the only holdout.
And I'm not sure Garnston's going to hold this lead, because here comes the 32. She is trying to push her way through. Garnston holds it for now. As the early leader in Jetta loses it on the pit cycle, and she has not been able to get to the bottom. She's going to lose a lot of ground here. Don't look now, but the 23 is starting to approach the top 10, and she's actually trying to get around this 64 car of Nihil. Remember, those are the top two in points. 91 back down pit road. And the Dark Horse Racing car is looking very quick up front here as well. That team has been a team that's very good at this pit strategy all season long. Bria DeLod's won a couple races just on strategy. If you're looking for... There's Arinia Tosima, who had a little bit of damage from that incident. She's back in 29th. Audie Stoneman back up into 16th, but... And now that is the case that Malikson into the top 10. Rariston really trying to get underneath that 27. Just can't quite make the move stick just yet.
Angelique Rugatino is someone who, granted, started on the inside row 6, definitely could have been someone to talk about, but we have not mentioned her name yet, and here she is, top 5.
Here comes Rariston.
Already has a win this season, and yep.
Oh, Garnston can't get clear.
Garnston.
And now the 32 is going to go for the lead.
I saw no hesitation out of the 27 car there, but I think it was just a moment too late because the 32 cars will get under and we will have a green flag pass. Atlantic, Cynthia Rariston's going to lead another lap at a short track, having won 2 this season. I think the only car that can challenge her right now is her teammate.
Well, remember, we had another Honda lead that's been dominant in recently leading a good chunk of the Continental Series race yesterday, that being Kathy Ableton Perez. Obviously, she ended up losing the lead late in the pit cycle, but these Hondas have been very fast here at this track so far. And I will say, it's probably no surprise to see the Echo Energy car running well at Echo Energy International Speedway. Home track for Lily Talberson. Driving the sponsor of the track's colors. I think she might like a win here.
Sponsors would love it as Youngwei Hu finds herself in the top 10 and looking under Sky and Jetta for a second, but in Jetta using the left quarter panel to her work as the FedEx car way wide up there.
Chantose in the 26.
Interesting line.
As Garnston's ended up dropping back to 4th place here. There's Rugatino sitting 3rd now in the 96 car.
Arnstone now the highest in the standings driver without a win so far. So looking good from Alicia Bansley. Hopefully checked out of the infield care center after her nasty hit with the pit wall. Hopefully she's watching this probably a little bit happy that right now someone isn't going to knock her out of a playoff spot just yet, as the 23 is surviving Arlen Handstrom.
Handstrom's trying to take this spot from Malixon, but just can't get it right now. Audie Stoneman's actually managed to move back up to 11th, so Stoneman's been recovering. Tosema's also starting to recover a little bit too. She's sitting 22nd now, and she may actually make a move. She may actually get this pass for 21st done on Meka Janeiro. Marisha Vebels just started to move up the field. She's up into 19th. We may end up seeing a battle for second here fairly soon, because I think that 96 is pretty solid, and they're closing in on the 18. And remember, the 18 had engine trouble, so that car is pretty well off the pace. This car is going to be one that they're going to have to probably avoid all day. Unless she gets in some sort of accident. Alicante's already scored one lap down. She'll fall a second lap down right here. For Alicantes, this isn't going to mean too much for her. She's already in the playoffs. She won at Denver earlier in the season. She actually came in 4th in points. But here comes Jukovic, who had a look to the inside of the 32 there, trying to take the race lead. And the 10 is retired from the race. Audie Stoneman appears to have had some kind of failure.
That's going to help Nancy a little bit more, but still got Garnston right there.
So here comes Tabrizi Toleran. There's both of the Royal Racing cars right next to each other. This is a pretty good day for that team so far. Key word here, though, is so far. Those two teammates running right next to each other. You got Talberson behind. Yappy Malixon sitting in 7th. Handstrom and Jetta and Koo. Ellie, you got word on Stoneman?
Yeah, it looks like Stoneman and her team are reporting that there's a broken piston in her, so that's what's took her down pit road, and they're going to try and fix that as soon as they can.
She's already out of the race, so...
I stand corrected.
That's going to be tough, because I'm going to assume right off the bat that has something to do with the Tosema calamity during the right as the caution flag flew, so... Really unfortunate there, just having another car go across your bumper of the accident you didn't commit, nor did you have any problems with, and that's gonna cost you a couple of points towards a playoff push.
Yeah, and that's something that's very important here. As Malixon now looks underneath Lily Talberson for 6th, and she'll take the spot away in turns 3 and 4.
Alex is really about to run the last row to first place.
No, because Yappy's been allergic to winning this season. I mean, she's been good. She's run fast, but she just hasn't been able to win.
I mean, yeah, best finishing average out of any driver on the grid. I mean, in all honesty, again, a driver who's never finished lower than 34th actually had a worse finish of the season with 34th last race at Motegi.
Yeah, she blew up.
We say that the moment we give her any little bit of attention, she's immediately put to the outside.
Well, she blew up last week in Motegi, and she was running towards the front of the field too. She blew up a decent way through into that race. So no fault of her own there.
Arlen Handstrom now just putting her to the outside. That's going to be another car we're going to have to watch as we get closer and closer to the end here.
Handstrom looks very fast, too. That 19 is really closing up a lot on a lot of these cars. She's actually maybe looking at potentially making a move on the 15 at Tolaroon here. But I will say, through the first 90 laps, I expected a lot more cautions than just the one that we've had so far, as Handstrom gets past Tolaroon here, and Malikson looks to follow suit. So that will put the 23 up into 6th place again. Sinley Rariston still holds the lead. Halis Jukovic sits in 2nd. It's on Angeli Rugatino in 3rd. But for how long this is going to stay, as here comes Jukovic looking to the inside. I called it right as it was happening. Here comes the 62 for the race lead.
What does the 96 do? 62 probably has got this in the bag. Just where does what strategy does the 96 pull here? Does 32 get on the inside? Does it go for anything quick? Nope. Looks like
we also got a battle here for 4th place. Here comes Handstrom on Garnston. Rugatino will take 2nd away. And now Garnston's kind of stuck up on the outside, and Yappy Malikson's going to try to get into the top 5 here from this.
A big race for Arlen Handstrom. Already got one win. Hyatt, 3rd place, 36 points back at Nihil and Malikson.
Ellie?
Looks like AWSCO's reporting some kind of vibration, so she's having her team look at that.
Well, AWSCO has not come down pit road, so...
Not going to help if she does. Again, needs really 67 points back of the cut line. Probably needs a win to get in, and that $1 million in-season tournament looking for speeding. 2 back-to-back 5th place finishes despite a 33rd in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, car slow on the apron. That's the 6 of McJasmina. She had a mechanical failure last week in Motegi as well.
Beast will hopefully get around.
She looks like she's going to make it back around to pit road here.
Doesn't affect her that much. Has a win already this season.
She's already got that win, but she's still lacking that top 10 on an oval.
Might not be her day as well as we see Rugatino now.
How
I think
about
the scariest
Handstrom?
card of those 4, Arlen Handstrom, has already made her way up.
She's going for 3rd.
What was the strategy call in the pit of the 19? Because whatever it was, it has worked to perfection.
Russia?
Yep. Looks like the 6 of McJasmina right now. They're putting some sort of cylinder down on that car. That's why she's brought it down pit road. I'm gonna take a look under the hood right now, and that's actually all the update time for you right now as we continue to work on that 6 car.
Rugatino's pressuring Jukovic. She'll pull to the inside on that 62. Can she stay there as they go into 1 and 2? She looks that she cannot do it.
How much pressure do you have to be under that Arlen Handstrom is practically aiming that car at her back bumper, and just like that,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't even look like she was trying. Arlen Handstrom doesn't even look like
Handstrom's
she's
got
trying,
2nd.
like cutting through the field. Not knife through butter. She might get a little bit of help from Alacantes here.
Alacantes is a teammate to Handstrom, but these cars will duck down to the bottom.
Didn't do too much, but I don't think it needs to be much for Arlen Handstrom. That car is on rails right now.
And I will say, it's been a remarkably clean race through these first 100 laps. I'm rather impressed. And here comes Handstrom for the race lead. That 19 car, fast all day. She's going to dive down, and Handstrom takes the lead away.
I don't even have anything else to say at this point. Arlen Handstrom has just made this racetrack look easy.
Rugatino will get to second. Jukovic is going to get freight trained up on that top side. Going to lose third to Raristoun here.
Bristol. 34th at Bristol and 25th at South Boston. The last two short tracks. I believe the 34th.
Whoa, the 92. What is...
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh. Ah, darn it.
Oh, and here comes Yappy for third. And the caution is out. Oh, there it is.
Kelly Yataka, man. The sixth car will be saved from getting lapped. That being 3 laps down already.
Well, this should bring us to another pit cycle here. So everybody ducks down pit road.
Really unfortunate moment there for Mikhail Yataka. 60 points back of the cut line. Inverness Racing driver. Technically tied with Guy and Jetta right now. That's just not what you want to see if you're that team, but I don't know what else to say about
Handstrom will win the race out. Raristoun, Malixon, Rugatino, Tolerone, Jukovic, Koo, Garnston, Cole, and Davison. Viva Alcantes there was waiting for these cars to pass her by. Well, let's go back, check and see if we can identify what happened to Mikhail Yataka. So she comes down pit road.
overshoots.
Just overcooks it.
I didn't see that as much of an... I mean, I know we had pit road problems in Continental, but I didn't see that being much of an issue, overshooting the pit road entrance. So, interesting that would happen in the 92. Maybe some sort of mechanical failure there. We will not know.
Maybe.
The car's likely being put into the garage for Indianapolis.
So Handstrom, Raristoun, Malixon, Rugatino, Tolerone, Jukovic, Koo, Garnston, Cole, Davies at the top 10 off pit road. Arlen Handstrom drove through the field. Now keep in mind, Arlen Handstrom started pretty deep in the field, from what I remember. Where's the starting grid again? Let me look. Yeah, she started back in 27th spot, so Handstrom's had a pretty good drive up through. All right, here we go. We head back to green. And Handstrom takes off. Second place, Rariston. Third place is now Yappy Malikson. And that will stay put for now. Change for fourth. The changes are from fourth on back. That's where Tolarone's taking the spot. This is where you're going to see the most moving about on the position-wise is on these restarts. We saw it in the Continental race yesterday that was where the pass for the win came from. And Sinley Arariston approaching the back bumper of the 19 here. And the caution is right back out. There might have been an incident between Janiga and Schliesenbach. Got some split strategy. Some cars coming back down pit road here. In fact, a lot of cars are coming back down pit road.
Nice maneuvering there by Jamie.
Giami.
And away. I like the other pronunciation, it's funnier.
Oh, I see what happens.
Oh my goodness.
There's going to be Amani Wandayo and Schliesenbach that got tangled up. And they just spun in front of the field. Alicia Byrne checks up. Looks like not really that much damage on either of these cars.
Schliesenbach, someone who started third, kind of in one of those positions where you probably need either some great finishes or a win. You get yourself into the playoffs, just unfortunate circumstances. I don't know who caused it, if I'm being honest.
We'll go to the,
I think it was.
We'll go to the overhead view. Go to the aerial view here. Kind of looks like the 8 just slips a little bit. Ah, the 21 just ticks her. I don't know.
Perhaps just a bad spotting job by both drivers, by both teams. Just one of those instances where
I think
they
it's
can't place any blame on the drivers.
Yeah, it's just they kind of just tapped each other and they kind of just got into each other just that tiny bit too much that sent them over the edge. So Handstrom, Tolerone, Jukovic, Rugatino, Davison, Happeman, Cole, and Jetta, Nihale, and Irina Tosima is in 10th now. So, yeah, remember that bit of caution calamity that happened where the 93, as the 64 appears to be coming down pit road. So that looks like it'll move this 98 of Eva Jarsaraj up to 10th. But remember that bit of caution calamity that sent the 98, or that sent the 93 and the 10 into each other? I think Tosima's recovered from that pretty well. And honestly, Stoneman was going to recover from that pretty well too until she had her engine go. Lights are out on the pace car. So we're going to get back to green flag racing here in just a minute. fair amount of cars did pit on that last caution. Arlen Handstrom, the leader, did not. Green flag. Back to racing here. So cars coming down pit road. That appears to be the 39 of Lily Talberson. Looks like the 6 might as well. They both might have received penalties. So Yappy Malakson is in this just mess.
Oh, look out.
Here comes the 15 of Tabrizia Tolerone. She got a great run off the corner, and she may go for the lead. Yes, she will.
Like Royal Racing never left. This is certainly a development.
Tolerone hasn't really been all that awful this year. Just it's kind of been a year of adjustment for her. Getting to the team that she owns. But she's taken the lead away here. Oh, 6 car, please be careful. Please don't just page the field here. Halis Jukovic has moved to 2nd. Rugatino's 3rd. Happeman. Handstrom now in 5th. Nika Harina, who is running towards the back of the field, she's actually moved up to 12th spot, and in fact, she's taking 11th from Marisha Vebelst right now. Winner last week in Motegi. The Japanese driver who won at her home track in her home country. A story that really, a really storybook way of going to Motegi for Mika Harina.
Atlantic was looking like they were going to go back to back, but now Raritan sort of start disappearing, and seems like it's up to 62 of Jukovic, who has been up here for a good amount of this race.
Well, the reason Raritan's so far back is because she pitted, to be fair.
If you can work her way through, cut her way through like Handstrom was earlier as we beat Arena. They're now on the precipice of the top 10.
Jukovic sits in 2nd right now. Janet Parkings is up into 8th spot, so that's another driver who's looking at vying for one of those playoff spots. Felicia Vancy can be guaranteed as a 40th place finish. So for Vancy, we don't know where she'll end up being seated in that in-season tournament, but it probably won't be first.
Parkins can really use that poor advantage. She can hold on to this top 10. That's about a 30-point wing with Vancy at the bottom. That's going to put her right in the conversation at least, with Stone, especially with Stoneman out and Garstone falling back.
Yeah, but it might not matter if a car like the 15 wins.
It might not. That's the other thing they have to consider. I don't know if I trust the 15 just yet. To see if
well, that's why I said a car like. If somebody without a win
31's
that
also
win.
up here too, but I think the 31's one of those.
Yes, she has.
Is he? Yeah, no, Hapman has.
Ellie?
That leaves.
If you remember when the 64 came down pit road not too long ago, we heard from what it was, and it was an oil leak, and it looks like they've gotten that fixed up.
Unfortunate, but glad they caught that under caution as opposed to under green. I mean, again, the thing here is tires don't really matter that much, so I'm not sure what the play is for pitting. Kind of getting, I mean, I guess maybe if you're trying to get off cycle a little bit and extend the window out, but Not too sure about the play. You've had 3 cautions so far in this race. I think I'm counting that right. We've had 3?
Yes.
Okay.
There was the debris caution. There was.
Well, there was the one for Yatica, there was the one for Yuria, and then there was the one for the 8 and the 46. Here comes Amory Wesco. She's really making a dive in there on the 52 of Cole.
Here's a car that could, with a good finish, that's a top 4 speed.
Yeah, Wesco's been pretty good.
For what would be her 3rd straight top 10, maybe 3rd straight top 5. Be big for the in-season tournament, if not for slowly trying to creep into this conversation for that last spot. She's 67 points back, so be difficult, but again, Vancy. What she needs is Vancy to finish 40th like she is now, her to have a good run, and then the 15, who is starting to be challenged a little bit by Yukovic. Do not win this race.
Yeah, that 62 is starting to close up on Toleron, and they're approaching the 18.
Yet again, you're going to cause problems.
It's not really Alicante's fault, though. That's her engine's fault. She's just doing her best that she can. In fairness as well to Alicante, she has not really been causing too much of an issue for the leaders. They've all been able to get by her pretty solidly. She hasn't really caused too much stack-ups. Although I say that, and now she starts causing problems.
Let the 15 entirely get by.
15 will get by clean here. And meanwhile, here's the battle for 10th. Marisha Vebels has just taken that spot away from Rachel Cole. So the 99 is into the top 10.
I'm starting to think this race might be one of those where you're going to have to see whose cars are geared up for the short term, whose cars are geared up for the long term, and figure out, just kind of hope that your car is on the right end of things in that last run.
Yeah,
a little bit of help on pit road.
I definitely agree. Move for 5th here. Here comes Wesco on Handstrom.
You saw like Arlen Handstrom, I mean, had a great long run car. That second run. As you can say, first pit cycle.
Oh, there's been a...
no, something happened.
Somebody got in the wall. I think it might have been Malixon.
I would assume so.
It doesn't appear like there's a caution.
What?
There's no caution. No caution. I did see a little smoke there, but evidently nobody got turned around enough.
72. Something about the 72 and the 19, they almost like were practically door to door. I thought there was going to be a car in the high side they were avoiding.
Happy Malixon's got some pretty solid damage. She's coming to pit road. Looks like they're going to work on that car. That's not going to be something that Yappy Malixon wants, because that car has quite a bit of damage.
Yep.
They're still working on it.
Yukovic really down to the apron, trying to get a run behind
the 15.
Okay, still about a half a car width farther down on the racetrack. That's trying to figure out if that's going to play off or if it's going to allow her to sneak in there to the corner.
Looks to the inside, but she just can't get that momentum quite yet. But she may have a shot if she can just get the exit off of turn number 2 right. But it doesn't look like she will. 23 exiting in front of them. You'll have to remind me to go check out what happened to the 23.
Was it lap
140? 140 something. Marisha Vebels sitting in 9th spot. We got Mika Harina trying to make moves. She's looking underneath Janet Parkings. Mika Gennaro has also come down the pit lane.
Those average speeds have popped up a little bit. It was at 113 not too long ago. Now we're up to 115.
Well, that's the average speed of the whole race, keep in mind.
Pardon me, not knowing my statistics. And suddenly Tolaron opened up just a good amount of a gap there as Harina now tries to make Atlantic Racing proud by pushing 2 cars in the top 10. Got to get around Parkings and WESCO though, and they are definitely 2 drivers who do not want any more points to live away from them.
Well, for Harina, it doesn't really matter about points. She's already got the win. For Parkings and WESCO, it's all about the points. And for Tolaron, I don't think any amount of points will get her close, so she's just doing whatever she can.
I'm gonna think that's gonna make Tolaron really dangerous, not in the like threat to win here, but maybe a threat to everyone else's safety. Is that car might be fighting for their life in the later stages of this race, assuming she's still up there. And that, Parkins gets a little loose there. Harina might be able to take advantage.
And when we saw Cassidy Jones do pretty much that in the Continental race yesterday, she was way deep in points, hadn't won yet, had a season where she struggled quite a bit. She was fighting to keep that lead in the end, and eventually she ended up holding on to it. Actually, she lost the lead for a brief moment in the final 5 laps, but she kept calm and took it right back. And that was something that I was really impressed by. This may be one of those tracks that just lends itself to those wildcard drivers. Meanwhile, though, the 31 sitting in 4th. You got Amory WESCO looking behind her, trying to maybe make a move for 5th. They're starting to catch up to this 23 car. Who's 2 laps down.
A little bit more problematic. I saw that move to the inside. Marina definitely thinks that she can get to the inside of this 60 car.
34 is fast.
When and aware.
Fastest lap of the race so far. Our NordVPN fastest lap right now belongs to the 64 of Jocelyn Nihale, who sits in 22nd after having that mechanical failure.
Slinking back into the pack.
It's very calm right now, though. At least for now. Not much fighting going on quite yet. Vebel's trying to hang on to 9th here, but she's getting pressured by Ajarsraj while also pressuring Hanstrom. That's just kind of how it is here. You kind of got to pressure even if you're being pressured. Here comes Angel Rugatino, maybe looking at trying to take 2nd away from Jukovic, but that one move doesn't look like it's going to pan out. Tolaron's starting to close on Malikson, but that 23 is going to be a bit difficult to maneuver around here, it looks like. They're going to catch this 18 car. This could be where that ends up taking, where that move takes place, is getting bottled up behind a lap car that's decently quick. Arena's starting to give a little look underneath WESCO, but not quite much going on there. Here comes the 62 of Jukovic. Trying to make that move. Remember, next week we've got Indianapolis on the calendar for our first race of the in-season tournament, and IRP in the Continental Series. As you see, the 6 car, McJasmine, a slow down there on the apron.
Another issue for the 6 car. That team has been through the ringer today.
Yeah, no kidding. Meanwhile, Harena's gotten past AWSCO. Tolerance still bottled up behind Malixon just a bit. Now Harena's looking to get underneath Taylor Happeman for 4th. This could drag Wesco back into the top 5 here, too. Now Wesco just gets to the inside on Happeman. And Tolerone looks to the inside on Malixon and will finally get that spot. Rasha, you got word on what's up with McJasmine there?
But yeah, we're looking at the 6 of McJasmine right now as she blocks the leaders. There was a tire down on that 6 car, and so they obviously brought that car in and replaced and put on a fresh set of tires right now. Back to you, Echo, as you see the 6 car continuing to block the field, and we'll have a lead change actually.
And that's given the 62 the lead, and that's gonna get the 34 into second. And I completely missed Harina getting 3rd from Rugatino, and now she's going to try and make even more moves as Tolerone drops back to 4th and maybe even 5th here.
I can kind of hear a cheer from the number 1 from a couple of teams right now, knowing that their spot for the place is currently saved. But yeah, no, Atlantic Racing battle. Not Cindy Rarison this time, but Atlantic might go. I don't think it's 3 for 3 on short tracks this year, but at least the last 3 short tracks. They have 2 cars right now looking like long run killers.
Looks like that 34 is very fast on this long run.
Stand up.
Again, remember...
Tina's been holding with him too.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to be a dip inside. Watch the left quarter panel.
Takes to it, but Jukovic cuts her off for now. We'll see if that holds, because Harena's still there. You see AWSCO's moved into 5th. You got Janet Parking sitting 6th. Got a really interesting group back here. Hey, there's Yenfi Yanaga. Remember she spun part of that last caution? Look at, she's gotten up to 9th place now. That's pretty good.
And long run and short run. And sometimes I think the damage is a bit less than what we were expecting. That's gonna.
Well, I don't think she or the 8 car really got any damage from that. The 8 car is sitting back here, but I think that's just a marker of how much pace the 8 car really has more than anything else. 72, Janet Parkings has taken that 5th spot now from Wesco. Now, Rena had a pretty solid boost there, but she's not going to be able to make the move just yet. She's really pressuring Jukovic, though.
Kind of almost don't want to. We're getting close to the mid-race report too, which is all the more frightening. We know our history.
Oh yeah.
Wesco was losing like spots.
Wesco got freight train. Wesco got pushed to the high side. She's getting kind of freight trained there. Harina pulls right up alongside Yukovic. And I think she may have it here now. She actually pulled up a lot further alongside there. And that's going to give us our new leader of Mika Harina in that 34 car.
I'm going to go back-to-back just like Raristown did.
She's going to try, but she's got a lot of time to go before we can say anything about that. Oh, the new leader is Mika Harina. Rugatina still sitting third. You're seeing Janet Parking starting to move her way up into fourth. There's Eva Jarsaraj sitting in seventh. She's running pretty good. Fighting for 10th here, Andrea Davison, the Ontario native, battling with Marisha Vevelst. Right now, free pass car still is the 39 of Lily Talberson. She's the first, actually only car right now, one lap down. And Yanaga going to try to take 7th from Jarsaraj. Remember, Yanaga won a couple weeks ago in Lausitzring. Yanaga is a Chinese driver, so Vancouver might as well be a hometown for her. I don't think Eddie appreciates my joke as much as I do.
No. Again, you're talking to a guy from Virginia.
Well, okay, the joke here is that Vancouver is like 25% Chinese.
Yeah, I didn't know that until now. So
well, now you know.
So welcome to your...
Echo explains the joke.
Welcome to Echo explains how culture transcends barriers. Be inclusive or be stupid. I am Bill Nye or something.
No, you're Eddie Debs.
I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing these days. Really.
Parkings.
Janet Parkins.
Speaking of not being inclusive, here's Janet Parkins.
I was being inclusive.
I've caught this lap car.
Okay.
Harina, Yukovic, still fighting. Parkings will take 4th away from Tolaron. Taylor Happman up to 5th now, as she's taken a spot away from Tolaron. And yeah, I think that 15's starting to fade a little bit. I think she's good on that short run, but on the long run, I just don't think she's as good. But again, clean air is very, very key here, so. Tolaron now going back underneath Happeman, and she's actually going to try to pin this 31 behind the slow lap car. That may actually help the 46 here. And remember here as well, Yenfi Yanaga at Lausitzring, she actually spun out pretty early on in that race too, and she went on to win that race, so never know. Could see that happen again here. Maybe Yanaga just needs to spin out in a race that she's gonna win.
That'd be a real interesting stat. Only ever wins races they spin out.
Yeah, she almost won Willow Springs as well, where she completely took out the leader on the 2nd lap of the race. Got back up to 3rd. Doing that at a road course too is pretty impressive.
Like that, I would think. drivers that battle through adversity, or at least can take adversity and understand what they need to do.
Yeah.
Bit of an I understand it now type of driver. That's someone who can get a lot of like rides in the future.
Well, and that, and
Good on
also
Yannick.
Yenfi Yanaga has kind of battled through the adversity of being at Southwest Racing this year, because that team has
Oh,
very
boy.
much struggled.
I don't think I can come up with a worse insult. I tried.
Southwest Racing sitting 10th in the team's title behind multiple two-car teams. This 46 car definitely looks very fast, though. And in all honesty, I kind of wonder which cars here are kicking in on this long run, because we're seeing a lot of cars that are starting to look really good on the long run here. We may end up catching up to some cars, you know, towards the back of the field that are on the lead lap that may end up getting lapped fairly soon here. This run goes on any longer. See, there's Parking's trying to snag third from Rugatino. As Yanaga's caught up to both of them. Russia, what's up?
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Echo, but I believe our last pit cycle was under that caution at around lap 108 or so. So we are approaching 90 laps now, if my calculations are correct, since that last pit stop. And I believe we will be coming up on the fuel, the end of the fuel window pretty soon here for these cars on the long run.
So, around lap 115, 130.
Yeah, so
Somewhere around there.
maybe we might see some early stoppers.
Oh, caution. Caution's out.
Come on.
Oh,
Well.
as soon as we say it.
I'm not sure what the yellow's for. But I imagine everybody's going to come down pit road here. Looks like the 52 is on pit road. Well, Talberson will get the free pass here. And we will watch these cars come out. Russia, what's up?
Yep, just saw that. Yep, just saw the 52 heading down onto the apron as you've called that caution. Chatter on the radio suggests that that's some sort of fuel system issue on that 52 car. We'll have to we'll see how that affects the car, but obviously I think they pulled down on the apron fairly close to the pit line. I think they got towed, which is why that was a caution, but definitely a good time for these cars to be taking in a pit stop right now. We were starting to stretch the fuel window here.
How about Yenfi Yanaga? She won the race out of pit road from about 5th place, too. Really good pit stop for that 46 car. Well, let's see what happened to the 52 here. She tries to pit. Does she run into the pit wall? No. She just stops. And that's what brought out the caution. All right, well, you have reached the halfway point of this race, and the halfway point was reached right as we got that caution, so pretty fitting. We'll call a restart, and then we'll get you to our mid-race report. Top 10 right now, it's Yanaga. Top 10 exiting pit road, Yanaga, Haurina, Parkings, Happeman, Yukovic, AWSCO, Tolerone, Hanstrom, Davison, and Vebelst. And Yenfi Yanaga, who started the last caution that we had, spun around in turn number 1, will end this next one just about 70 laps later at the head of the field. Lights are on the pace car, so we'll get back green very shortly. Here we go, green flag, back out. And the 34 really did not get going. That's going to let the 46 jump out to a pretty decent lead.
Yeah, an interesting stack up there in the top 10 as we see. Oh no, Lily Talbertson.
And she's into the pit wall. There it all goes.
I think by this point, the spotters would be more... I don't know. By this point, the spotters would see things more clearly, I guess.
Yanaga.
Able to tell their drivers not to do that. Yeah, Yanaga's starting to pull.
Still leading. Harina, Parkings, trying to fend off Happeman. How about Marisha Vebelst has moved into 5th? We'll get to that and all more. But at first, we're going to send you down to the FanDuel Fan Studio with Rosh and Ellie for our mid-race report. What do you two got for us down there?
Hello, right now we're watching the 99 car of Marisha Vebelst in the top 5. In the top 5 right now for ERR. The top 5 currently is Yenfi Yanaga, Mika Haurina, Taylor Happeman, Janet Parkings, and Marisha Vebelst. Yanaga using full advantage of that pit cycle to jump up to the lead here. As we're a few laps into a restart at Echo Energy International Speedway, the inaugural Cup race here in Surrey, British Columbia. Had a few cautions. In fact, we obviously just came off of one for the 52 of Rachel Cole, who missed pit lane, was forced to stop on the apron. As we see the 99 of Vebelst now to the inside of Parkings for 4th. Been a fairly clean race, I think. Only a few incidents. Only a few incidents so far. Far fewer than than we saw in the Continental race. Ellie, what are your thoughts on the racing so far here today? As we see the 60 of Jennifer Wilson. Yeah. Exiting. That's Amory Wesco, I should say. Amory Wesco. Sorry, mixed up once again the Continental and Cup drivers. Exiting from pit lane there.
My thoughts on this are, this has been great. This has been just as fun to watch as the Continental race here. The pacing is a little different. It's a little bit more long run, but that's what's kept it interesting as well, because it's kind of interesting.
Caution
already.
There's a big pot of oil. That might be it. The 21 of Andrea Davison blowing up big time on the bottom there. Oh, that's Hondayo. Actually, never mind. Sorry, 21 of Amani Hondayo blowing up big time on the back stretch. Was that the caution right there? Believe so. I don't see anybody else involved in that. Parking's coming in. But yeah, one car blowing up there. Seemingly that was the cause for the caution. We've had a few, well, we've seemingly had, that's our second, I should say, caution caused by mechanical problem. And I believe third today overall, I want to say, caused by one.
Yeah, with the cautions and the racing here has been really clean. Most of the cautions just haven't been very based on contact. It's all mostly been mechanical for the most part. So.
Yeah.
As I was gonna say, the racing has been really clean until I got interrupted by that caution.
Yeah. There, parking's filtering off pit road. A few other cars taking notes. That's Alicia Byrne and the 23 of Taylor Haberman. 2 lap cars coming down pit lane. Any other takers here? Doesn't look like it. So free pass, I believe. Well, I think it's gonna go to the 42. Was 2 laps down. 21 retired with a clutch issue. No cars that are 1 lap down, I should say. But yeah, everyone else on the lead lap. Still quite a few cars on the lead lap, I should mention. Is that 26? Don't think we had that many at this point of the race in the, what do you call it? The Continental Series. So the last few cars, the lap cars come in there. Getting their service. 32 has no front end. Does that have something to do with it? I don't think the 32 had no front end last time. Oh, here comes another car. Car coming in again, 13. I want to see what happened to the 32 there. We'll get a replay shortly, but... Was the 32 have no front end before? Or did I just not notice?
I don't know.
That's an odd one. I didn't notice the 32 didn't have a... the Rarison didn't have a front end. Yeah, the 32 had a front end in the previous laps. Alright, what happened here? Oh, I see the 21 caused the stack up. That is what happened. Cars in the back involved there. We saw the 17 who came down pit road. The 91 came down for damage repair, and obviously the 32 with that front end damage. Start waving cars around now, starting with the 42 of Mika Gennaro. Oh yeah, it looks like the 21 blew up in front of the pack, and that's what caused the ensuing stack up caused the caution. We've had a few problems related to that. We saw the 82 of Faisal Yuri take a bit of a flight down the backstretch because of they were stopped with an engine problem before. So that's been the main issue really today. Pretty much all the incidents I feel like have been caused by just trying to avoid cars going slow, which can be a bit hairy at this track. Even though it's wide, there's not much usable racetrack. I would really say, especially in the turns. You always want to stick to the bottom lane.
Yeah, and speaking of the bottom lane, it's been pretty dominant, just like the race in the Continental Series. The bottom lane is really where you're seeing people make the most moves and just sticking to for pretty much the entirety of the race. The most you'll really see is maybe the middle.
Here we go. Green flag is out. 46 gonna get sent to the inside by Haurina here. We saw
pushing.
Yeah, we saw this a few times in the Continental Series. And I mentioned this in the pre-race show. It might be the best place to restart, 2nd or 3rd place. You have that chance to send it down the inside of the leader and take the lead from there. Right now, it looks like Haurina's gonna do that. Almost cleared the 46 that time around. Should be able to clear pretty soon. Vebelston 99 also taking advantage here. And there's the car I mistook for the 21. The 22 of Andrea Davison sitting on the inside as well. In the top 5 now. Haurina clears and takes the lead. And yet another change of position at the restart. That's something we saw a lot in the Continental race, and we've seen a few times already here in the Cup Series.
Yeah, getting good track position on your restarts here seems to be a very, very big factor on whether or not you're going to be out in front.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the case.
And Haurina was a car I was looking at earlier in the pre-race show that I thought was going to actually do pretty well here, and it's kind of been interesting to see her kind of take it away so far.
Oh, here comes the 99 of Marisha
99
Rebels.
is pushing her.
Looking to go side by side this time. She get to the end. She get it. Nope, she won't get to the quarter panel. Yeah, 34 closed the door successfully. And this is something we've seen quite a bit. That the top 3 or 4 cars tend to pull away a little bit as the run goes on. Again, that's another thing we saw in the Continental race. So the racing so far has been pretty similar.
Pretty
the 99, yeah. The 99 looks to the inside again. It's been, I'd say, a little bit easier to pass. At least we've seen more moves, but that might just be sample size here, given that we're almost down the full length as the 99 works down the inside. Good work there, working the arrow on the 34 of Haurina, and they're side by side this time around. Starting lap 224, still side by side. 99 washes up, tries to shove the 34 out of the way. And that's going to leave room for the 22 to go in, maybe send it 3 wide. Davison doesn't get there though, and the 99 of Vebels will close the door and take the lead. Entering lap 225, new leader 99.
Vebels started way out back too.
Yeah, Vebels was another car. It was a car that that started way out back in the pack. Double check where she started. As the field now starts to calm down a little bit, more single filed out now. Up front, 99 started all the way up in 34th. So yeah, that's a car that's made her way through the field. Same with the 22. 22 started on the row ahead in 32nd place. But lots of shuffling going on here as we start lap 227. Looking out at the back of the field this time, the 18 and 6 cars with some mechanical problems, mostly damaged cars here. But as you can see, still mostly two wide racing here. Looking, through most of the field.
Really
Single file with 2 wide, 3 wide really isn't possible. I think, as it isn't really sustained for very long on these green flag runs.
Yeah.
Again, very short track. There's a lot of room to go up there, but you really don't want to. There's not really any reason to go up there because you're going to go a lot slower than the cars on the inside. You lose a lot of ground if you do that. Heading back up here. Some moves being looked at here. 96.34. This is for 3rd position. Arena trying to not lose any more ground to the top 2 here. The 96 of Angeli Rigatino hounds her down. 46 of Yanaga dropped down to 5th after that restart. It's still in the top 5, and it's once again the 60 of AWSCO was moved up. It was moved up a few spots on track, but still remains a few laps down.
It's been interesting to watch.
Yeah. We haven't had a green flag cycle yet. We almost had one entering the mid-race report. We had about a 90 or so lap run before that. So we were about 10 laps or so away from a green flag pit cycle, but the caution for the 52 caution for the 52 interrupted that. And so we had a fairly late yellow flag pit cycle. Obviously now looking at the 99, 22, and 34 out up front. I want to take a look at Janet Parkins in the 72. That's one of the cars, and the 16. Those are the two cars that I noted coming in under. Oh, there's a. Oh, never mind. The 72 just blew up. Never mind. The 72 has just blown up. Oh. Careful. The 9 spins out, crashes in the back. That might be another caution. That would be, yes.
Yeah, that's.
Never mind. Data irrelevant as the 72 is simply blown up in front of our eyes.
Now this changes things.
This changes things again. We have yet another. Lots of mechanical failures here, tempering the mid-race report, and kind of a bit of a messy battle there. As you see cars all over the place, trying to stop in time for the caution. Lots of position changes. You see the 64 of Nihill up in 6th place.
Oh wow.
Lots of position changes there. Everybody coming in now. 60 obviously staying out. 52, all those lap cars.
You're gonna have to really pay attention to how Andrea Davison and
they're still trying to figure things out back here.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Cars are everywhere. Let's head over back to with our leaders. They were the now I've completely forgotten. 64 was 6th. Obviously, cars are getting waved around.
You see who gets out.
There's the 99. I think the 99 is just getting out now. Watch the 34. Ooh, it's very close. Siesenbach coming in. That's Actually helped the
that wins it.
99 a bit. That helped the 99 out. Nihil filters out in third, taking advantage of that first pit stall. 91 on the apron there.
But now Harina is in a good position. If she goes on the inside, she can pass.
Harina's in a good position. I think the 64 is third, and then the 46 is fourth. Double check, but I think, yeah, the 64 will come down to pass both of these cars, I think. So, good pit stop there for the 64 team. Gained 3 spots up to third place. 46 gained 1 spot as well, at the cost of the 22 and 46 teams, I think. 20 as well is up here. We've placed one Flurvent car with another. As somehow the 2 cars come out at the tail end of the lead lap. It's been a slow stop for that 2 team. I think the 42 will get another... Well, her next lap back. This will put her back on the lead lap now. I believe... Ooh, whatever's going on there is 42's trying to find a lane. Cars are everywhere back here. Use the outside. Careful. There's just enough room. Yeah, just enough room to make it work. We saw this in Continental as well. It gets tight on the outside, but there is just enough room to make a move like that work. To wave around on the outside too. Obviously get waved around as well. The problem is 42 now has to wait until 3 and 4 to make to pass through the rest of the field. But no change at the no change in the top 2, but a few changes to the rest of the top 10 as we see some of these cars moving up and down. Here comes the 42 coming in to take the rest of the wave around. So obviously the Atlantic cars have been really good today as we come up to this restart. We see the 34 running well, the 64 running well right now. The 32 was running well in bits and parts of the race beforehand. Before obviously got caught up in that 21 car. What do you call it? The 21 car blowing up. As we approach this restart, upcoming restart, would be a good time, I think, to head to our fan pick segment. I'll start with you, Ellie. We've had quite a few changes up in the top 10, but these top two seem to remain constant. So, who do you think's gonna pose a really good chance of winning this race come the end of things?
Well, I'm gonna go out and say I think, depending on how Harina really handles this here, I think she can do it. She's been looking pretty decent on the exits. If she remains up here, she can. I think she can do it. She's looked pretty good on the exits. My only thing here is Vebels is also really good at defending and blocking, so it's kind of hard to really pick between the two, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Vebels.
But yeah, Marisha Vebels, notorious aggressive going around the racetrack right now. Obviously a top pick to win, on a lot of races. Right now, I'm gonna go with... Let's see here. There's been quite a few cars. The Atlantic cars have been particularly strong today. I think all of them have been fairly quick in their own right. Obviously, right now we're seeing 2 of them. Oh, as a car's turned around. That's the 42 of Mika Gennaro, who was just caught up on the... Who just got back on the lead lap, as we'll get another caution here. But, as I said, the Atlantic cars have been great today. And so I think it will be... There's a good chance that one of them will be in victory lane once we get to the end of this race. Gonna go with that 64 car of Jocelyn Nihil, who's sitting up in second right now. Obviously, she's... Oh, I think Tosama took some big damage there. Maybe some damage there from a stack up or something. It's buckled in a bit, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the 64 of Jocelyn Nihil. This might very well be her time. She's looked strong as she always does, to be fair. Always runs up front. The 64 team, I think the 64 team has what it takes to take advantage of this race. And with about 150 laps to go until the end of this race, there's a lot of things can still change, but I think you can count on one of these Atlantic cars, and personally I have my eyes on number 64 of Jocelyn Nihil. with that, we'll take things back over to the booth as we've had a fairly eventful mid-race report. We're really racking up the numbers on that mid-race report caution count this weekend, especially today. I think we've got at least 2.5 of them, I want to say. Maybe we've had quite a few, so back over to the booth now with Echo and Eddie.
All right. Well, man, they really waited until the mid-race report to start getting antsy. Eddie, you got a fan pick here for the remainder of this race?
I'm kind of scared. Rosh has already cursed someone, and as we know, I have a much stronger curse that I have inflicted upon drivers in this. And I think my pick just got taken out. I do not know where Angelique Rugatino has gone. Possibly has gotten damaged. She's at the back. I think she
pitted. She came down pit road, yeah.
She was running in the top 10 most of this race. Looked like good form in the short run, good form in the long run. I think this is a car that could win however this race goes. And that's something you kind of want, because this race might be a bit chaotic in the end. Like, things might not make sense these last 100 laps, and that might lend to her and her car. So I think I'm going to go with the 96. Hopefully this pit strategy doesn't entirely curse her.
All right, I think I'm gonna go with somebody. I'm gonna go with someone who I don't think we haven't really seen a lot of today. I'm gonna go with the 20 to Gabby Gabriella. She's really kind of been absent today, and it's kind of been one of those. This has kind of been one of those races where the drivers that don't really show up that much have done the best, and I think Gabriella will get this one pulled off. She's a great short track driver. She's had some good runs this season. I think that 20 car will be the one that gets this one done.
Also, for a random thing, Marisha Vebels, we had said practically nothing about her before the mid-race report, and suddenly,
yes, she came up. She got 5th on that one restart. Then she got to 2nd, and then she took the lead. I mean, she kind of came out of nowhere to get to the lead of this race.
And hey, already has a win this season.
Yep, she won back at Las Vegas.
I think big thing here for her might just be getting a top 5 finish, at least proceeding in that in-season tournament. I know everyone wants the $1 million, ERR. One of the 4-car teams trying to keep that team afloat, afloat. Might be worth doing. There's a lot of cars up to the outside there as we get back to green.
Green flag is back out. And Vebels holds on the restart.
Up. Funny car running the outside right off the bat.
She might have got kind of pushed up there.
Yeah. It might have been a Jar Raj, I think maybe the 20 got. There was just maybe a stack up going around that corner, and I think the 20 did not get down compared to the rest of them. Or Jar Raj just walked way up the track, couldn't bring it
Whoa,
up.
96 is in the pit wall.
What did I say? What did I say to an exact degree?
Yeah, look at what you did, Eddie. Look at what you did. Look at what all of us did. We've all jinxed. Everyone's jinxed somebody except for Ellie. Ellie picked Vebels. Actually, no. Russia. Well, now Russia did jinx parkings. I was gonna say Russia didn't jinx Nihil, but Russia jinxed parkings like immediately. And then Abriella just slid up, just washed up. I guess Abriella's not out of the race, but.
No, she's not, but only can run back. We're just going to have to see how that car performs when it's not getting help from pit lane. Maybe it's a good long run car. We're just going to have to see.
Here's the driver who sat on the pole and led the first 60, 70 laps. Sky and Jetta, she's starting to make her way back up towards the front of the field again. Again, remember, and Jetta's kind of Jetta's really looking for that win. She wants to get that win to get herself into the playoffs. 96 out of the race. But remember that the 16 has kind of been... she's kind of just had that thing of she's struggled to make the make the races wins. She's had good cars, she's been fast, but she just hasn't been able to close the deal.
The real question for us, and I think that's something that we've sort of perpetuated throughout, is has that been a Sky and Jeddah issue, or has it been a Team Southwest issue? I think Southwest Racing kind of leaning on team there, being able to get and Jeddah over the hump. Maybe tonight's the night. Who knows? Atlantic Racing has had enough of being friendly. They both want a taste of the ERR car.
Well, it was Vevelst who beat both of them to get to the lead. And you see Harina's trying to take second back. She was the one who Vevelst passed for the lead. Looking for drivers, you know, obviously Vance, if you're looking for the drivers who are towards the top in the seating, Vancy, one of those drivers, she's out of the race. Halis Jukovic was second in the seating coming in, and she's sitting back here in 14th right now, actually. That's not too far back. Rachel Cole, a couple of laps down, 26th right now. Amory Wesco in the 60 car. She, I believe, came down pit road, and she got a penalty of some sort. She's 29th. May see a fight here for second again. Nihal and Harina again. Still looking to battle, and that's just not going to help them catch Vevelst if they keep battling. Meanwhile, Eva Jarsraj and Arlen Handstrom, two Mason Parker Motorsports cars back here, fighting for a spot. Tabrizi Tolerone sitting in 6th. A rather solid run for her. As soon as we get out of the mid-race report, I mean, it just got clean again. Why is it always like that?
I don't know. It's like they know. It's like they know the moment like we get out of the booth and into the studio that they have to have some awful wreck to mess with us all.
I will say, despite the amount of cautions, I feel like this race has been pretty green and pretty clean as well.
Yeah.
Harina is slowly starting to catch up to Vevelst again, though. But if Marisha Vevelst is doing anything here, I am not very convinced that Vevelst isn't going to do something absolutely absurd. This is where Vevelst got her trade. This is a short track. I would not be surprised if you see Vevelst do something crazy to maintain the lead here. And I don't think you would be either, Eddie.
Oh, absolutely not, yeah. Fellow Terror Trio member.
Terror Trio. Oh, the 15 is blowing up!
Oh, God, Royal Racing. Can you have one good day? She's going to hit the pit wall. No?
Nope, she made it back.
Oof. Wow, okay.
Well, that's really unfortunate.
Strikes again. It's not even like can't even catch a break. That's just God deciding that Royal Racing has had enough fun for a day.
You also got to consider Garnston, who was running well earlier on in the race, but she's slid back into 17th now.
We're still gonna get a chunk, cut out a chunk into Vancy's gap between her and Vancy, but at that point,
well, I think she might take that spot, but I mean, all the cars that were kind of battling Vancy are done pretty much. I mean, Parkins is out of the race, Stoneman's out of the race, Yuri is out of the race.
Who's the highest?
It's pretty much only Garnston left.
Top 10. Youngwei Koo, yes, I think it is. Trying to look for drivers who haven't won a race yet. 22's won a race. 31.
How about... By the way, how about MBYW Motorsports having both their cars in the top 10 right now? That's very impressive for a team that's really, really been
Oh yeah, no. Laughing stock.
struggling this year. The only team they actually are not they're not the worst team in the team standings. Ozark Motorsports stands below them with the 31 and the 17, but MBYW still has had a very much of a struggle this season.
You're...
Harina looked like she had a bit of momentum on that 99, but the 99 really closed the door on her. Meanwhile, here comes Waterton underneath Handstrom. I mean, I would not be surprised if we see Vebles do something crazy. That's kind of what we've come to expect from her. Waterton still fighting for 5th. Ellie?
Yeah, so I'm hearing from the 15 team that she's reporting some pretty bad engine damage.
Obviously not ideal for them. Rebels just caught up to Carly Byrne, who is a lead lap car, but probably won't be for very long. You know, here comes Harina. Here comes Vebles trying to block her off, and she goes into the apron. Hey, you know how? Hey, you know how I said? You know how I said Vebles is going to do something crazy?
Yep. That's...
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Haven't seen Duncan Ward pull that out of it. Duncan Ward may have just written something down in a notepad. He's not here with us in the booth, obviously, but he might have an idea.
He
Not
might
a
be
good one,
watching.
but still an idea. Oh, he will. He's 100% watching. I'm on this broadcast. If you want clips of me to use.
Harina's
the
looking to the
blackmail
inside
related.
again. Vebles closes the door again. Gosh, I don't know how. Gosh, I don't know how. I don't know how Marisha gets away with it.
Genius. That's what it is. Sheer genius. Wile E. Coyote.
To be honest, the answer is probably that she doesn't get away with it. She's just lucky.
I didn't think she was gonna get away with it, and then
I didn't either. I thought she was going straight on the wall.
I thought Harina was gonna make a move last time across the backstretch after Vettel slammed the door, but nothing happened. Now suddenly there's a group of cars that have...
Yeah, there's a lot of cars here that are... We got about a 5-car pack now. They're all gonna try to maybe make a move around this 99. Because Marisha is fighting to keep that lead, and we're not even at 100 laps to go. Vebles still holding on to the lead after all of that. How about Sky and Jetta's made her way back into the top 10? She got past Mimi Marino there. Closing up on this group here, there's Andrea Davison, Handstrom, and Koo. Oh, Vebles again closed off on the 34. 34 gave her a little bump.
Marisha, learn from Duncan Ward. Brake check in the middle of the straightaway. It worked to help you in the Thanksgiving 500. You can pull it off too. Trust.
So stay clear of the 34. Gosh, I don't know if I've seen anybody defending this much. Then again, of course it's Marisha.
No one defends Marisha Vebles. Gotta watch out for Sky and Jedi. I know we just ever so slightly mentioned her, but on the long run, that might be a car that could get through these guys and put herself into a lead as Danny will not hold up Marisha, probably for the best health-wise, physical health-wise. I think it's more Latanya's style. Almost got another first rush there.
Yeah, she got a little bump from the 98, but... Look at this mix. 3 wide here for the 5th spot, Taylor Happeman and Yania Waterton. That's the 31 and 13. This is some really good racing we're seeing. Out of everybody, really. You can see almost the entire top 10 is up here in this stretch. Very entertaining race. And we've still got a good chunk of this race to go. Arena trying to use the high side to maybe build a bit of a run on Vebels, but Vebels uses that low line as a bit of a defensive line. Got a bit of a mix here. They're going 3 wide here. Andrea Davison trying to take 5th away from Happeman and Waterton. Now we may see Ava Jarsaraj closing up on Jocelyn Nihil. Remember, Jarsaraj finished 2nd at South Boston with a missing hood. She actually led a good chunk of that race with the missing hood too, so she knows how to race these short tracks. Obviously, we don't see as many short tracks up here in the Cup Series as we do in the Continental Series, but here comes Harina now looking underneath Vebels. But Vebels is going to shut the door again.
Youngwei Ku has been sneaking his way up through this.
Her way, yeah.
Every time, it's always Youngwei.
I forget that everyone in this series is a woman. They all got the same pronouns. Meanwhile, Sky and Jetta's actually made her way to 8th. She's gotten by Waterton, and Mimi Barino's actually gotten past Harlan Handstrom, so you've got those 2 MBYW cars head to toe. 9th and 10th right there.
Anyone up here we've seen have trouble with lap cars in the past, this might become more of a pressing issue with these next couple laps.
They're too wide with the lap cars, so that's gonna really be annoying.
For a moment, I think 17 clears here, and then
17 will clear.
Push Resta regardless.
And then we'll jump to the bottom.
Yep. Resta does what she can.
Harina's looking, but I don't think she's gonna get there. Vebels never gives, Vebels will never give you any quarter, and I think Harina's just come to expect that. She realizes this.
I have to for Harina. This might be a
62 is on pit road.
To make a mistake. She's not having the best of days.
So Jukovic now in trouble. So those drivers in the top end of the seeding race, not been a great day for any of them except for Jetta, really. .62, that's actually her 2nd trip down pit road. So Vebel's still hanging on here to this lead. doing all that she can. Trying to not allow that 34 to have anything. Remember, Harina came runner-up to Vebelst back in Las Vegas. Harina had the lead late, jumped her on a pit cycle, but Vebelst managed to drive back around her late in the going and take the victory. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Nihale, driver who sits to take the points lead as it stands right now, is third place right now. Looks like Jukovic is down pit road again. Still 30 cars running, which I'd say is a pretty good mark for a short track.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to mention something earlier about Arlen Handstrom finishing 34th and 26th on our last two short track appearances, but both of those retired from the race. So, having 30 with about 100 laps to go is certainly a blessing upon this racetrack. Because it can give some good short track stuff without having to sacrifice everyone's front end and back end.
Well, we saw them come down, some of these cars come down pit road around lap 240. We saw some cars come around on lap 210. So we are starting to approach that window where we may see the fuel window open up fairly soon. So if we get a green flag cycle here, that would put them pretty close on fuel, but I think they'd be able to make it. Driver's just kind of settling out now. Vebels has started to pull away from Harina a little bit. I think that 34 was faster than her for a decent bit, but 99's, I think, kind of clutching up here on the late run. There's kind of those two things where you get that short run, middle run, and the short run, long run, and the really long run. Those are the kind of three phases you see these cars kind of come in.
One thing I want to say about this Atlantic team, and I'm talking in terms of Harina being behind Vebels as she does start to catch up a little bit thanks to the lap cars, is that maybe there's a bit of strategy playing off of Mauricio Vebels being the car in front of Harina. Because Harina, as we see right there,
there she goes.
Was going to have a little bit of trouble with the lap cars, maybe be a little aggressive on one move, and Harina was going to take advantage, and right there, Harina's going to take advantage, get to the inside, and is going to have Dalad follow her down, so Vebels might get freight trained, and Harina's going to have assuming she gets around the lap car, is going to have a pretty good amount of clean air in front of her as the rest of these lap cars hold up the secondary pack that's sort of forming.
Well, yeah, that's what Harina wanted, was to get by the 99 there, but whoa, the 9 of Byrne really got squirrely. I think she got kind of touched by the 98 there of Ajar Siraj. Oh, the 98 and the 31 are in the wall! Battling for fourth, and they've just got into the wall, hung on to it, though. But that's not going to help them not one bit.
Not at all.
As you see Vebelst going by the 8 car here. See what Vebelst will try to do to take the lead back. Now the 64 sits alone in third. You got Davies in fourth, and Sky and Jetta's moved up to 5th spot. Most of this group's still with each other. Still with each other. And if we get a green flag pit cycle here fairly soon, which I'm expecting in about 10 to 20 laps, it could be interesting. Saw a few cars come in around lap 242, but most of these cars haven't pitted for about 100 laps. So we're kind of getting close to where the fuel window stands. It's the 98. Trying to hold off the 13 and the 3 right now. But Mika Harina now has taken the lead back. Marisha Vebels held her off as long as she could with her Marisha Vebels tactics, but now Harina's got it. Now the question is, what do you do on pit road? This is definitely going to be the last stop. I don't see any reason you'd come in to pit again. Unless you maybe spin out or something, ruin the tires. But what are you thinking strategy-wise here?
I haven't, again, with this long of a run, assuming we do get green flag pit stops, I haven't seen what strategy might work, where you would want to shave off time in terms of fuel and or tires, or maybe in some cases damage repair, as we see the 32 car there.
Well, remember as well.
Really just...
I want to point out as well here. Remember that in the in yesterday's race, in the Continental race, we saw the 54 get the lead on the 25 by pulling an overcut. Stayed out longer than the 25 car and took the lead because of it. This is one of those tracks. This is going to be one of the few tracks where you can feasibly pull it off, pull something like that off.
And I would assume that some cars, whether for seeding, for points, or for the win, are going to try and take that feasibility, thinking, what else we got to lose here? But it will also be determined by what we see here. And 34 and the 99 obviously have made a huge push here, so it's really whether these cars think they have some sort of strategy in mind to save 2 seconds off their time, or whether the 34 and 99 get a little complacent and maybe think that they can pull off a long run strategy that might bite them in the butt. I don't know what strategy really would work best here, because we haven't seen any, you know, logical strategy play out, but we've also haven't seen much in terms of a long run like we were seeing right here.
Yeah.
It could end at any point, as we have seen multiple times throughout this race.
Third, fourth, and fifth kind of built up right here. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, actually. Because you got Nihale, Davison, and Jetta, and Ku all in a line there. And this race could, you know, I think anybody could step into that void to win this race. I think there could be anybody that does it here. I don't think it's down to just the top two. I mean, again, maybe if it stays green, it might be down to the top two, but we saw yesterday in the Continental race what a restart will do, how much it'll change the complexion of the race. Especially so now that we're seeing a long run. Sky and Jetta, who sat on the pole, led the first about 70 laps. And you see Nihale drift up the track a little bit. Here comes Davison trying to take third spot. you're looking for a Canadian driver to win here, there's your candidate. And now we see Njeta try and maybe make a little bit of a dive for fourth. Nope, Nihil gets in. Harina gonna put the 46 a lap down.
Unfortunately, what happened to Yenfi, he had a lot of talk about her kind of laps 100 and 200.
Looks like a lot of these cars put around lap 230. I know how the mid-race report had 3 cautions, and we literally haven't had a caution since the mid-race report.
Yep. Some things just cannot be explained.
It's explained solely by the fact that it's the mid-race report. It's just cursed.
Yeah,
Well, we've gotten 328 laps here from the Echo Energy International Speedway from the first AWSCO Windows Cup Series race here. Boy, oh boy, these kinds of tracks are going to be really important. We got 2 more 3/4 mile tracks coming up in the race to the playoffs, as well as in the in-season tournament as well. Because Richmond and Iowa are both coming up too.
Absolutely.
And then Indianapolis, one of those tracks. You got Darlington, and then obviously the regular season finale at Pensacola. That's going to be chaotic. As the 13 looks like she's peeling off. Looks like Yania Waterton's going to come down pit road. So Waterton going to be an early taker here. So we do have our pit stops. And they are beginning. This is the green flag cycle. Pretty long stop for Waterton. See Davison kind of sliding back, losing a little bit of ground. She's lost the 5th spot to Andrea Davison. Gonna see a battle for 3rd here between Njeta and Nihil. 16 car gonna take that spot away. About 4.5 seconds back of the lead. So when might we expect everybody else to come to pit road? I don't know. The 13 pitted really early. The 2 of Vijavidas pulled in. Same for the 20 there. Those are a couple lead lap cars. Harina's starting to pull away from Vebels just a bit here. Davison's pitting. So 22 car coming in. And it looks like it's going to be about a 60 lap run to the finish for these cars taking tires now. Harina's pitting. So it looks like Vebels is going to try to overcut her. This track does have a very difficult pit road to get onto.
As we have seen multiple times.
Bevel's coming in now. Looks like Injetta's going to stay out an extra lap. Nihale and Ku are coming in here. Halfman also came in, but she had a bit of a long stop. Ajar Siraj. This becomes the main question. How do they cycle out? Looks like Harina will stay ahead of Vebelst. And Jetta's down pit road. I see Barino as well. Watching from the pit road camera here on how Sky and Jetta's pit stops goes. There you see Mika Harina. Jarsaraj came in around the same time as well. There's where you see Mika Harina, who leads the race, and the caution is out.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, this 16 looks like she spun right off pit road.
Hedda. Oh, Shantase, what the heck?
Shantase just gave her a little door. 16 looks like she might have a little bit of rear end damage.
Look at that, 34 and the 99 are right next to each other,
and we've got a restart.
Second and third's where you want to be on the restart. Risha might be able to get that clean air, and then we might be gone after that. This is gonna really pick up. How
See if we can see what happens here. She's exiting pit road, and I think, oh, the 91.
Oh.
Ooh. 91's trying to enter pit road. 91 just gets into her.
Spotters really not working together.
Nothing in Jetta's at fault there for.
Arlen Handstrom is up to third now.
Handstrom is third. It's Ku in fourth. Davison. Barino, Waterton, and Jetta's still scored an 8th. Tosama's now 9th, and Nihil's dropped back to 10th. Alright, this lap is when they'll start. So we'll start waving. Harina, Vebelst, Handstrom, Ku, Davison, Barino, Waterton, and Jetta, Tosama, Nihil. So those cars will get waved around here for being lap cars in between the top 10. Well,
BYW Motorsports has 2 cars in the top 10. Oh boy.
well, the big question here now becomes, what happens on this restart? We're going to have just over 50 laps. We're going to have 53 laps to go. What are you thinking on this restart?
I'm thinking this is kind of become. I mean, I want to say Vebbles, but seeing Hamstrom in third is just as scary. Harina's gonna have to probably pull a page out of Vebbles' book in her defending to keep that 99 behind her on this restart, especially if the 99 is gonna get any help from the 19. And for Young Wei Ku, I think if you want to get your first win in the race, girl, you're just gonna have to hope these three have some chaos. You see her jumping to the outside there, and she did defend.
Harina went low.
And that's going to get the 19 under.
19's going to take second. 19's going to try to get second.
Girl falling off. That's not going to help her at all.
Caution is right back out. 62,
What?
Jukovic.
Oh my goodness.
We'll go again. Now the ante's starting to amp up.
Yeah.
All these cars still sorting themselves out. Let's take a look and see if we can identify what happened here. Oh, that's what happened. 62 just gets hooked by the 26 into the 98 there of Vijar Saraj. And Yenfi Yanaga will get the free pass to get back on the lead lap. Harina, Handstrom, Vebels, Davison, Barino, Ku, Waterton, and Jetta, Nihale, Tosima. Nobody's a lap down. I think the 98 might be halting damage repair due to the pace car. So Vebels lost a spot there on the restart, but she'll have another opportunity. And second, third place, pretty good spot to be on a restart here. Light's still on the pace car, so we'll keep it going. We'll keep it here. Nika Harina, who won last week in Motegi, trying to go back-to-back. Harlan Handstrom hasn't won since Bathurst in the third race of the season. Marisha Vebels hasn't won since Vegas in the fourth race of the season. Andrea Davidson's last win was Charlotte, race 15. And Mimi Barino hasn't won a race at all. She hasn't even really come close to winning a race. Barino's best finish this season was that fourth place at Bathurst, and she's only got a few other top 10s to speak of. Sits 35th in the points right now. The lights are out on the pace car, so we're gonna head back to green here very shortly.
Under 50 laps, man.
This is where it gets tense.
Oh, yeah, no, everyone's sweating it. I'm saying that right now.
No matter who you are, if you're a fan, or if you're a crew chief, or if you're a driver, this is where you tense up. This is where you make your money.
So gotta, well, yeah. A clear path to $1 million really on the line here. People trying to not put themselves into a bad situation in the tournament. Some people trying to fight for
Green flag.
really playoff spots. And we're back, and Marina did not blocked a Vebels move that time. Still worked out. Did not give up immediately to Handstrom.
Vebels is trying to get around the outside of Handstrom, but she might give up that spot to Davison instead here.
Jumped off the line.
Vebels has been getting good restarts, but
yeah.
unfortunately she just hasn't been able to put her car in the right spot to stay where she restarts.
She's gonna get some help though. I thought she was gonna get some help from Youngwei 2's dive bomb, but apparently Marino's gonna get to her inside, and she's gonna start sliding back now. Unless she can get the clear.
She almost got
Marino
clear.
is keeping her nose right where it needs to be to make Vebels think twice.
I don't know if Vebels really thinks twice.
Yeah, she might not even think once. That's a fair point. Oh, yeah, well, there's your visual evidence.
I told you. Here comes Davison for second.
Yeah, Andrea Davison. I don't want to say from out of nowhere. That's not an Andrea Davison thing to do, but hey, Ontario native.
How about easy
And
Javida in the
Canada.
2 car? She's up in a 10th spot. Running in the top 10. Pretty solid for her. You got Vebels still trying to hold off Barrino, but I think she may end up dropping in. Well, she's not going to drop in because now Ku's going to get underneath the 99.
This is going to be frustrating for Vebels. I'd be careful of anyone trying to go past on the inside. Vebels could do something incredibly dangerous, as we have already seen her do in the past 5 laps, but gonna swing down as Rena is slowly opening up a gap to Davison. Gained
Yes,
about a
she
tenth of a
is.
second there on the last lap.
See Mimi Barrino now moving up to 4th, and she's also looking underneath Handstrom maybe to take 3rd.
We have Mika Harina versus Mimi Barrino for this race. God, Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby. If the Coughing Baby has a chance this time.
Barrino up to 3rd
Not
now.
Third though.
She's gotten on the podium. I mean, again, I was saying this. It's gonna be. I was saying this when I was making the fan pick. It's gonna be somebody from out of nowhere. And very well could end up being this 3 car.
34 got a little bit of time back on, got a little bit of a time loss on Davison there. I think maybe there was a short run push for Harina, but it's not. I think, yeah, Davison slowly reeling her in, and Marino is going to possibly be able to take advantage of that. Oh boy, boy, boy. In for it.
See Vebels still fighting with Ku here, trying to get that spot back. And now the 2 cars under a second back of Harina. Ellie?
Yeah, it looks like Tesmo is reporting that a tire went down on her, so they're gonna have to try and replace that.
Well,
I'm not sure, because she's still out there. Maybe it's a slow leak or something.
Oh.
It's a terrible time to have it, though. That's what we can confirm.
Thanks, Phil. We can blame this one on Phil.
Yeah, Phil the intern strikes again. I might trouble with him as well. Big in trouble, Harina. Can't be happy with what she sees in her rearview mirror. I'm sure the crew chief and squad are feeding her. No, she gained that lap.
Yeah, but look who's closing really quickly now. It's the 3 of Marino.
That's the problem. And you see chances that lap cars might come into play here. Oh, goodness.
And I think the more that Davison holds up Marino, that's the more that 3 is going to be frustrated.
He hasn't gotten to 22 yet. That's the other thing. Like, there's still a good car length between the two.
Oh, the 34 did get held up quite a bit, though, by the 26 there. And now they're all here.
3-car battle. Here we go. No one's safe.
34 hangs on for now. Here comes the 3 looking to the inside, though, on the 22.
He wants it.
Barrino takes second. Well, she's going to try to get second.
Well, Marina, just a bit of time to escape there. Marina.
And she's got it.
Miss. He could be written as a moment in history.
Vebelst has gotten by Ku. So Vebelst is back up to 5th.
From one Mercedes to another.
Handstrom's kind of being held up by these lap cars. Vebelst is starting to close up through them as well.
Marina, however...
Reno is starting to lose a little bit.
Yeah.
Vebelst is really starting to push. Coming up on 25 to go.
We got Jasmine to deal with.
That 6 car's coming up.
She is alone, so it should be rather easier for Helena, but something happened just there. I think 22 tried to go around the outside, or tried something around the outside, and Barrino saw it and did a little bit to block it. May have moved up. Maybe not gotten the ideal exit, but still gained a little bit of time on that lap. So we'll have to see how it goes.
You can tell everyone's everyone's pushing.
Yep. No change.
Not really that much game. I think it was a 10th of a second.
Yeah. It was 100th.
100th, you're right.
We'll have to see around this corner, because here's where Jammy's going to cause some issues.
Now it'll
Not
be fine.
for long.
Now it'll be fine.
Yep. Timing-wise, but Barrino got to the bumper.
Yeah, the 3 did get to the bumper, but I think she just had that momentum anyways.
Oh.
Trying to back it up a little bit.
Yeah. Is that going to give Davison the time to strike here? No.
No.
He's gonna wash up a little bit. Welcome to the edge of your seat, folks. Don't expect to move off it anytime soon.
34 goes high,
Barrino.
but I don't think Barrino had enough time to get to her.
Oh.
But now this might be the perfect spot.
Yep. Charsaraj.
98's there. Barrino couldn't get there. She might try it here.
Maybe it. Quarter panel. Oh, that almost looked like quarter panel contact with some of our cameras.
20 laps to go.
Barrino was entering that corner lower than Harina was, and I don't think it paid off.
It's a 3-car battle
This one out.
for the race win here.
Oh, Davison. Davison's going to get her shot on Barrino at this point.
She
Okay,
tried,
no,
but I think
no.
Barrino got a better run.
It's going to be interesting. Harino went low there, but Barrino didn't. Is this going to help in timing at all? No, not really.
I mean, it's partially because she's in the dirty air. She's just in that. She's in the dirty air. Vebels gets by Handstrom for 4th.
I don't think, yeah. I think it's these three, unless there's a wreck. And Davison's starting to slip back too, so it might be these two.
We'll see.
Thing here, not really.
Harina just drifts up a little bit. Not enough to make a difference,
that
though.
Like a cut inside at a Barrino. But nothing came of it. Barrino's going to get a little bit more space. Now with a good amount of lap cars out of the way, we're starting to see Harina make ever so slightly start to pull away.
Barrino's pretty close, but she's going to have to keep pushing. And I'm not really sure if she's in a spot where she can do that.
I mean, this is practically what other time is she going to get a better chance like this to lock herself into the playoffs than the season she's had? Like, this is going to be 13 laps of, like, the best setup possible for the move. There's no other way I can see this going for Barrino. That team needs to be putting all their resources into figuring out what she needs to do. She's only got a couple of turns left before you really need to be on her back bumper.
They'll probably catch some more lappers at some point. So the lappers could slow Harina down a little bit and help Barrino get to her. But right now, it is still Harina out front. Barrino chasing. And Vebels really just isn't gaining in that 4th spot. She may have to settle for it. But Barrino's doing pretty good at keeping with that 34 right now.
Cut into the lead ever so slightly. Noticing Barrino's getting much closer to the apron on these turns than Harina is, and I don't think that's optimal.
We've reached our Windows 11 to go. Mika Harina, Mimi Barrino, Andrea Davison, all in the mix for the race win here at Echo Energy International Speedway.
And Van Alicantes again. These were trouble for Harina last time.
Oh, they're trouble
Probably
again.
gonna cause a little bit more trouble here. Yep. Harina can't get to the back bumper just yet. She's sliding up a little bit too much. That's gonna give Davison a shot. Oh boy, they're gonna be stacked up into the corner. Is there anything Barrino can do?
She's looking
Not
now,
really.
but just can't get there.
Nope.
Harina's really trying to shut that door.
Again,
Harina
Barrino with the
slips a
strategy,
little
trying
bit.
to stay closer to the apron than Harina. It is not giving her the run she wants. And it just lost, and it just doubled the lead for Harina there.
Got 7 laps to go.
I think Harina's just running the optimal line right now. And Barrino can't, like, anything Barrino does is not going to gain her time unless she gets help from a lap car.
Not another lap car for a decent bit. Giro Riester, the 17, is the next one. And we're starting to reach the point of the race where we wouldn't go back to green if the caution were to come out. Shout out to Gabby Ariella, who's actually recovered. She's actually made it up to 10th again. See Jocelyn Nihale in 9th. I'm not sure if they'll catch the 17, but I'm not sure it'll matter. Harina's starting to get away. 4 to go.
Yes, she is. And man, Mika Harina started 14th today on the outside. Dropped back a little bit. Atlantic Racing continuing to dominate on short tracks, and with the amount of cars they have currently in the championship, Yukovic, Raritan, and Harina, they're a threat.
Harina's getting some good runs, though. She's driving through the corners pretty deep here. She may have a shot. But this is an absolute... It looks like she's kind of in her last ditch. She's throwing everything right now. 2 laps to go.
And again, right there, Marino, close to the apron. Harina higher up, I think that's giving Harina the run on the corners that Marino just can't replicate.
White flag. Marino is there. But can she get close enough? Runs a little higher that time.
Last dive bomb.
She's got one last chance for a dive bomb.
Nothing.
But she's not close enough. And it'll be Mika Harina. Back-to-back victories. Harina wins at the Echo Energy International Speedway. Mimi Barrino with an impressive second. Davison third. Vebels fourth. Handstrom will come home fifth. How about Yenfi Yannicka guarding through multiple bits of adversity? She still finished 8th. And what a drive by Mika Harina to get her second win in a row.
I had a nickel for every time I called an Atlantic Racing driver, winning their second of consecutive races on a short track in the Windows Cup Series. I've had 2 nickels. Weird that's happened twice.
I will say, I'm very impressed by how Mimi Barrino drove today. Even if she didn't win, she definitely deserved this finish.
Best finish of the year for her. Second top 5.
And obviously, we will have the seating.
Hey, Andrea Davison, proving that she has some speed on short tracks. That team's got to be excited.
Yeah.
Even they're locked in, could be an issue when come North Wilkesboro and Martinsville.
And the other thing as well is this keeps it to 3 spots that will make up. This keeps it to 3 point spots left, with 5 races to go in the playoffs. So
Garnstone will pass Fancy.
She will.
And Stoneman, so I think it'll be Garnstone in that spot. It's just where the gap is. I don't think anyone else. I mean, parking's crashed. Jiria out. Leisenbach goes up to top to the 10th spot, so she at least dug into the gap between her and Garnstone, but not by much. And Jetta, Yadika, everyone else on that list was a couple of laps down or racked out.
What'd you think of that race there? How'd you feel about that? And what do you think we'll expect in the next few weeks going forward?
Well, I'm really happy we got the long run that we wanted to see in the end. I mean, I said it was going to be whichever team, I was going to say whichever team it had maybe a long run car was going to work out. I didn't know if it was going to be a short run. There kind of was sort of a medium run there, and in the end, Harina was able to battle against a couple of drivers who definitely had different types of cars that worked well in different runs. But hey, held them all off with the clean air, even with traffic, got that win. So very good sign for her. Atlantic Racing as a whole. Sorry to Angeli Rugatino, I guess, although you drove into the pit wall, so I don't know if that's entirely a curse on me or if you just need to get better. And yeah, no, fun race. I mean, having every wreck happen during the mid-race report is not a shock, but I mean, I guess that's just what can you do. And yeah, Echo Energy International Speedway, I imagine this one's going to be around for a while. I mean, it's providing some good combination of what you would want out of a race.
Yeah, with how this track performed this weekend, I would expect it to stick around for a lot longer. All right, well, we're gonna throw you to the FanDuel Fan Studio here for our post-race report. We'll have updates on the playoff standings, and we'll have an update on how the in-season tournament will look. We'll send it down to Rasha and Ellie in the FanDuel Fan Studio for our post-race report. What do you two have?
Oh my days! We rolled another one of those good. We rolled another good finish here today. That was shades of yesterday's finish in the Continental Series, as well, with the 34 having to defend it. The 34 having to defend her way through the lap traffic and multiple cars hounding her down. That was a really good run by the final run by the 34 of Mika Harney. Congrats to her on a well-earned victory, I think. I think everyone here would agree on that. That was a hard-fought win at the end. Great runs by Mimi Marino and Andrea Davison. That does put Davison up to 2 top 5s in the last 2 races. Of course, finishing second to Paulina in the dramatic Motegi finish as well. Second, 4th place in a row for Marisha Rebels as well, and 5th place Arlen Henstrom heading back up to form, back in the top 10 after a few bad runs in the last few races. Ellie, what did you think of the race? That was that last run was quite a lot of fun to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, the last run especially was really great to watch. I thought it was really aggressive, and it had me a little glued to my seat. It was very fun to see everybody kind of try and fight for position there, especially the top 3. But Harina just ended up being able to block and stick it out, and was really great on those exits, which I noticed early on. Her car was just really fast and really good on those exits, it seemed. I think Barino had a really good run as well. That was really impressive on her. I didn't really see her like the entire race until like the last maybe 40 laps.
Yeah. 34 really had the entry and exit of corners nailed down. That's a very important part of being able to grab wins, I think. Being able to defend at this racetrack, especially. We saw that plenty of times with Continental Race, and we saw it again here at the end of this Cup race. Looking at the rest of the finishing order here. Of course, De Gabi Abriolo with that excellent 9th place run. Another big rebounding performance was the 38 of Young Hui Ku taking 6th place. That's her first top 10 since all the way back in Road America, which
wow,
which was a race that I called way back. So
I don't even know if I was in AWSCO for that one.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if you were on the team yet for that. It's been that was a long time ago, relatively speaking. The rest of the finishers here. Actually, take a look at the results. Where am I looking for? Sorry, I got a bit lost trying to navigate the information terminal here. Let's see. Good drive for another good drive for Yenfi Yanago. We saw another top 10 for just. Is it another top 10? Actually, no. I think Nihil finished just outside the top 10. I should say. Looking at the rest of the results, 11th place for the other MBYW car, the 13 of Yanio Waterton. Really good showing by both MBYW cars here today. Both definitely had the pace to stack up to the at the front of the pack, and that really showed. 13 ran well around the middle of the race, up in that top. I want to say in the top 5 as well. We saw the 3 challenging for the win at the end there. So a very positive weekend for MBYW as a whole, which is just quite a bit of a rarity to come by for them here. Getting a look now. I think we are about to take a look at the playoff cut line battle. Nietzsche Garnstone takes back that position with a 14th place run. obviously Felicia Vancy retired early in this race with the, I think it was a suspected engine problem or something along those lines. Now, negative 13. So a lot of the drivers on the cut line had problems today. We saw what happened to Pace Lingeria. We saw what happened to Janet Parkings. Neither of those drivers had particularly great races. Not sure what happened to Audie Stone, but I think there was another engine problem on that the tech car as well.
So.
That took her out. So a lot happened there. Mechanical problems affecting a lot of playoff bubble cars today, which Nichi Garton was able to take full advantage of. Racing was really fun today. I'd say fairly cleaner than the Continental Series. We didn't get as many confusing situations, I would say, in the Cup race. Although I feel like nothing is gonna beat the 82 flipping today, as a whole this weekend. Like I think that was probably the most bizarre moment of the weekend as a whole. I say this, and I remember that the two of Rachel Ramos flipped off of the pit wall at in the Continental race. So maybe not actually. I might be lying on that regard.
They're trying to one-up each other on how crazy their
crashes were. A few teething issues at this track, especially with the pit lane. But to be fair to the drivers, the pit lane entry is rather difficult here.
It's difficult.
In general, it is tough to judge. Even for the most, it is tough to judge, and I would expect even experienced drivers to have issues entering pit lane here.
Yeah, they also don't have as much experience with this track yet either.
Obviously, with this track being new, yeah. Not many pit entries are like this one. Maybe Darlington's kind of like that as well. Like Darlington has an odd pit entrance as well. That's a track that we'll see later on in the schedule as we approach the end of the regular season. Speaking of the schedule, our next weekend we'll be heading off to the pair of Indianapolis-based racetracks. Continental heading over to the Indianapolis Raceway Park. Another short track race coming up for the Continental Series there, heading over to IRP, a popular racetrack for the lower two NASCAR National Series. The Truck Series recently returned there in the last few seasons, as well, and the then Xfinity, now O'Reilly Series, also raced there in the past, and of course the Cup Series. And of course, the Cup Series are heading up to the big track, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for the Brickyard 400. That's gonna be another one of the crown jewels per se of the AWSCO Windows Cup Series schedule. Always a prestigious event. Oh, really, any event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a prestigious event, to be fair. But this one is one of the bigger ones here in the stock car racing world, and we expect racing in Indianapolis to be at least interesting from a racing standpoint. It's kind of all over the place. The speedway and stock car racing kind of have an odd relationship, and especially in the last few years. But racing-wise, we should expect at least an interesting event to take place.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see our drivers hit that track and the upcoming tracks as well, and Darlington as well. It's gonna be a really great track to watch, I think.
Yeah.
I think Darlington's gonna be really fun.
Looking at the rest of the schedule, there are a few more short tracks. Another 3/4 mile track is coming up in 3 races time. That'll be Richmond Raceway. Iowa, of course, is another track under a mile. That's race 27 coming up after Indianapolis. So those are the 2 short tracks to look forward to in the Cup Series, and in the Continental Series, it's going to be all short tracks until you get to Darlington, and of course Pensacola. Those are the last 2. So short tracks all the way down, because IRP obviously is less than a mile long. Yeah, not sure what else to talk about here. Take a look at the rest of the Cup race. Taking a look at the rest of the Cup race here, we did see a few green flag cycles. That's something we can talk about. yesterday in the Continental race, I mentioned the power that the overcut could potentially have, and I think we saw that a little bit again this time. Although to be fair, the overcut, I'd say the overcut only worked in the sense that you came out late enough to where the caution would we kind of had almost a full green flags pit cycle, I want to say. I think everyone managed to come in, and then immediately after the caution came out, so I don't really know what to think of that. Like,
I don't really know what to think of that one either, because the caution came out like 2 minutes after.
I want to say the overcut worked again, but also I can't definitively say it this time, because, well, the caution coming out kind of messed with things a little bit. We didn't get to see everyone run at least a few laps under green after taking service.
Yeah.
But obviously we had a pretty wide spread of cars coming what do you call it? In terms of cars and when they chose to come in on that last cycle. And it was fun to see that kind of divergent schedule, that divergent kind of strategy coming up, especially late in the race. That's where you want those schedules to really kick in. We now get the last thing that we're looking for, the in-season tournament bracket. As you can see, and you'll see right here, we do have our tournament matchups. Like, Alright, here we go. Looking at our tournament matchups here, it'll be obviously we'll have the top 32 cars in points, I believe, qualifying for the tournament. Am I correct on that? Yes, I am in fact correct on that. They're seeded by, I believe, the average finish of those drivers in the last 4 races, or something along those lines. You have 16 matchups in this round. In this next round coming up at Indianapolis. Then those are filtered down to 8 drivers for the next race, 4 for the next race after that, and then obviously 4 matchups, and then 2 matchups, and then 2 matchups. Obviously, you have your in-season tournament finale, which I believe will coincide with our regular season finale at Pensacola. Am I correct on that? 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. I believe so, unless that final 4 is unless that final 4 is the final round, in which case it would be at our second to last race at Darlington. But yeah, the matchups right now, looking at them right now. First seeded Andrea Davidson will face off against 32nd seeded Abby Little. Abby Little, driver of the number 71, who won at Michigan this season. Davidson's seeded first, unsurprisingly, given how well she has run in the last 4 races. With her, let me see. Well, yeah, top 10 finishes in all 4 races. There you go. 4th, 8th, 3rd. Is it 3rd? Yeah, 4th, 8th. 3rd, I believe the 3rd. Or is it? Wait, no, hang on. 10th, 2nd, 3rd, and 37th. I think it's the last 3 that counts. Second matchup, 16 and 17. 16th seeded Lori Schliesenbach and 17th seeded Sophie Chantosay. 8th seeded Yenfi Yanaga versus 25th seeded Paisla Giria. 9th seeded Jocelyn Nihale versus 24th seeded Carly Bird. 4th seeded Mika Harina versus 29th seeded Jolly McJasmina. 13th seed Sky and Jeddah facing off against the 20th seed Perry Contes. 5th seed Vebels against 28th seed Delod. 12th seed Cornstone versus 21st seed Byrne. 2nd seed Felicia Fancy versus 31st seed Rugatino. 15th seed Malixon versus 18th seed Breriston. 7th seeded Handstrom versus 26th seeded Yatica. Is that a Nordic matchup there? Interesting to see those two matched up. 10th seed AWSCO and 23rd seeded Stoneman. 3rd seed Tosama versus 30th seed Parkings. 14th seed Hapman versus 19th seed Felberson. 6th seed Yukovic versus 27th seed Waterton. And 11th seeded Cole versus 22nd seeded Yorsharaj. Those are your matchups for the first round of the in-season tournament. And with that, we look forward to seeing you for the first race of that in-season tournament at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Backyard 400. That'll be one to look forward to, a big event for all of these stock car drivers. And we hope we'll see you there at ESN for the broadcast. So we'll take things over back to the booth for AWSCO to close things up here tonight.
Yeah, and a very, very fun race here tonight for the AWSCO Energy International Speedway. First of all, that in-season tournament is going to be very exciting. You could actually make your predictions now on for the in-season tournament. Visit challenge.com/AWSCO to make your predictions. Meanwhile, we got Indianapolis next week for the opener for the round of 32, and we've also got IRP in the Continental Series. It's going to be very fun the next few weeks as we get the final race to the playoffs. All right, on behalf of Eddie, Ellie, and Rasha, I'm AWSCO. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I will see you all next time. See ya!